Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what part of the globe you're sitting on. Welcome to another edition of the Amazing Football Exponential Show. And with me today is my amazing friend, Frank. Frank, you want to say hi to our viewers?
Hi guys. Hi Kingsley. How you doing?
Good, good. You're not excited. You're not sounding as excited as
No,
I anticipate.
no. See, I don't know if you've seen this meme where there's basically like a girl just looking at her husband like, oh, I'm wondering what he's thinking about. He's probably thinking about other girls. Me right now, I'm thinking about the final day of the Premier League season. I'm thinking, I'm fighting, I'm fighting for my life right now. Like on that,
No, uh,
you don't understand. Like,
no.
no. See, I'm feeling a bit shaky. I'm not. I don't know what to expect. I know what I want, but I don't know what I'm going to get, and it's very. I'm shaking. I'm shaking. I'm not looking. If if I could take a pill that I can sleep for 2 hours of like of the duration of the game, wake up, what miss? What miss? Aaron Haaland, what miss? Oh, KDB, yeah. If I could take a pill that could just miss that the game entirely, wake up, check the results, I'll be fine. Because right now my anxiety is through the roof. Man. I'm really stressing.
I'll tell you something from my amazing, amazing friend in Yamal. He says, "Come on." Be calm. Like I said, in probably 6 or thereabout weeks ago, when we had one of our very interesting segments for some of our viewers who don't remember that, when we were doing the forecast and prediction for how the Premier League top five would look like. I said, and I'm still reaffirming, that Chelsea is going to make it through to Champions League football next season from the English Premier League. And my top five still remains the same. It's going to be in
Yeah,
no
it's still on
particular
track.
order, no particular order, but it's going to be Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester City, Newcastle, and Chelsea. Those are the people I have on my top five. I mean, it's tough for the kind of season Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa have had, but I still feel like they'll make it there. So, to my friend Frank, it's almost happening. We're a few days away. In a couple of, no, I think 5 days, there about 4 days. You should be good. You know the fate. You're ready to buy Chelsea's next season jersey to play the Champions League football. And of course, you still have my mailing address, and you understand what to do from that. But until then, let's unpack the beauty of today's
I have some
edition.
friends. I have some friends in China and Korea. They'll sort me out. So don't worry about that.
Well, I heard there's I
No,
heard
well,
there's Nike store there as well. Make sure you go to the right vendor.
no.
Tell your friends to go to the right
S-
vendors.
Straight from the source.
Absolutely. All right, enough of the banter. Let's unpack a little bit
Okay.
some of the things we have for this edition. So we'll be going through our EPL season top 11. We'll be going from the best goalkeeper
Team of the season.
to, the most impressive forward. We'll have everything unpacked in our team of season. I think that'll be a very interesting conversation. We'll share our views. We'll try to justify the players that make into that top 11. And of course, we expect some
No
controversy when
agendas.
it comes with Frank. So when that controversy comes, feel free to get on your comment section and let him know if he's saying a yay or nay. In addition to that, as well, we'll be discussing the best coach from the EPL side of things, and as well as the entire European football as well. We'll be looking at the best player. And feel free to go in the comment section as well and let us know who you think your best players are. If you think we're on point with our prediction for those, aka Ballon d'Or awards. We'll be talking about the best young players. We'll be talking about the best breakout star of the season. We're talking about the flop of the season from a player standpoint, from a coach standpoint, and of course, the biggest underachievers from a club standpoint, right? And we'll be looking across Europe entirely. We'll be looking at the biggest overachievers, people who have, or clubs who have gone beyond, above and beyond in terms of the expectations set by them at the start of the season or set by their fan base. And of course, we would also look at the clubs that have the seasons to forget. As those are some of the things that we're
Okay.
unpacking in this conversation, but we'll go right into it, starting with our EPL 2024-2025 team of the season. I think, Frank, we should do it one at a time. Maybe a color position, you call another one, we try to justify. Otherwise, we'll be here all day
Okay.
long.
Okay.
We'll be
Okay.
here all day long.
Okay.
Okay.
So okay. But also think there are a few players we can both agree going straight away.
Well, it
So
depends when we hear
like
them. If we hear them, if
uh,
it,
so okay. So I think Mohamed Salah goes straight to that's clear, right? There's no
oh,
question about that.
I'm happy to hear you say Mo Salah is an absolute.
No, yeah,
Oh, okay, okay, yeah,
no, yeah,
absolutely, I
yeah, yeah.
agree.
Of
Mo
course, no,
Salah, yeah,
no,
absolutely,
of course.
absolutely, absolutely, no objection
Mo
whatsoever.
Salah, Mo Salah gets in. Virgil van Dijk goes in as the first centre back
Yeah, yeah,
choice.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Alexander Isak leads the line as the number 9 in the team.
Mm, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think so.
yeah. He's had a
So I think it's
fantastic
important.
season.
I think it's
Yeah, those some of
okay. I
those, yeah,
think
some of those
the
are absolute no-brainers. I mean,
so those are so I think those are the ones that nailed on to going. So let's kick it off with the ones we might have a bit of discussion about. Starting with the number one goalkeeper.
but I think even before we get into that, let's agree on a formation so that we can guide our
Okay,
viewers through
yeah,
the conversation. Are we doing 4-3-3?
okay.
Are we
I'm
doing
just
3-4-3? Are we doing what are we doing?
I think because I've thought long and hard about this. So I think the conventional way is to go with 4-3-3 or 4-4-2. But personally, I want to go with fewer defenders as if possible. I want a back three because I don't think there are some obvious outstanding candidates for the back for different positions in the back four. But I think there are some. I want to get some attacking players into this team. I think there are some players that need a bit of shine for their accomplishments this season. And that's not to take away anything from the defenders that we've been missing out on. The guys like Kekes, Mark Cucurella. If he doesn't get, I think Cucurella gets into my team, but I don't know if he gets into our team.
Mhm.
Guys like Gabriel, Saliba, and that. So let's see. What do you think about formation? Are you happy with the back three formation?
Yeah, back three and then four midfield, right? And
Back three. Back three midfield. I think we can. You know what? Let's. You know what? I've got it. Let's do this. Let's do it this way. Let's go with let's give a shout out to your Cruyff. We'll go with Diamond his favorite formation. Three at the back, Diamond midfield, and three attackers.
okay, sounds like a plan. So three, four,
Yeah.
three. Okay,
So
perfect.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
perfect. So
I think that way we can. I think that way we can get in some of our the players that we really like. So starting off, number one, who's the showstopper in this 11?
Hmm. I think David Raya
I,
gets a
I,
good shout. He had a decent season, but I would go for Metzels from Nottingham Forest. I
oh,
think they've got the best clean sheets, but probably yeah the best clean sheet ratio. Just even watching the essence of a goalkeeper in the Premier League this season as an amazing shot stopper. His reaction saves were off were off the charts. He brought that command for the Nottingham Forest defenders to act very solid. In my opinion, I feel like that's why they're even in the conversations for making it into the UEFA Champions League knockout um football stage. So I feel like absolutely it should go to
yeah,
Metzels.
yeah. I think I agree with that. I agree with that pick because he has the joint most clean sheets in the Premier League this season, along with David Raya as well. So I think with the goalkeeper, it's always a safe bet to just go with the guy that has the most clean sheets. More often than not, you can get the other guys that come in, but I think this is I think Marcel has been a standard candidate in that position. I think
Absolutely.
I'm happy. I'm happy. So let's pencil that in. We've got
Yeah, we got
Sales
Metzels
as our
in.
number
Yeah.
one.
Okay.
Okay.
So for
So
the
we've got in
one of the three central backs, we were okay with Van Dijk, automatic
Van
starter.
Dijk. Yeah.
Okay. So we
Yeah.
have two positions for grab, right?
Okay.
On the backs. So are we exclusively saying center back, or anybody that's played in the back?
You know what? Yeah. You know what? Because I think that's if you're going with a back three, I think it's let's not in a way exclude fullbacks out of this conversation. Let's
Mhm.
leave it open. We can get a centre back in. If we can have a good conversation for guys like Ola Anya. I think that's
Oh,
a good
all I
shout.
know, yeah, no, that's a good
Cucurella,
shot. Good
yeah,
shot.
yeah. Marc Cucurella on Chelsea probably gets in my opinion. He's scored the most goals from a defender this season. He's had some fantastic performance against some of the best attacking players in Premier League.
Hmm.
The likes of Saka, the likes of likes of Amad Diallo, Saka, Salah, and the lot. I think he's been a very consistent performer for Chelsea this season. But I think we can agree on another name, and that is Gabriel Magalhaes from Arsenal. Is that fair to
Ooh.
say?
Yep, for the other centre
Yeah,
back, yes, Gabriel.
yeah.
Yeah, but the
Because
only
yeah, because
concern I have with Gabriel is like I don't feel like in comparison to other seasons, I don't feel like he's played a lot of games, not because of selection issues, but because of
yeah,
injuries.
it was.
I think maybe he played about 28 games or something like that.
But that's how good he's been. No,
Yeah,
and also because I always feel like in the Arsenal dynamic, there's always been. I think a lot of people who believe Saliba is probably the
better.
more excellent centre back in that pairing. But I think in light of recent games or recent events, we've seen Saliba looking a bit shaky in big games recently, and in a way, it's somewhat highlights Gabriel's presence in that back line as probably the leader and that's in the calming presence at the back. Also, let's not forget his attacking capabilities
Yes,
from
it's
set
goal
pieces because he's
scoring. Yeah,
very.
it's
I,
a
I,
very
so I think it's a
potent goal
massive,
scorer. Yeah.
it's a massive, it's a massive threat for that situation. I, th- I'm, I, Gabriel. I think
Yeah, I'm with you on
Gabriel
that.
has to go
Gabriel
there.
goes in. So we've
Okay,
got Van Dijk, we've got
okay,
Gabriel. We've got one more
okay.
position in the back line. Who do we give it to? I think we should consider some of the fullbacks. I'm not sold on Cucurella to be honest, because there's Luis Kelly there, there
Fair.
is Robertson, there is
Yeah, there's
Justin
Kekes.
Tiba,
There's
Timber, there is
yeah.
Keck. So I'm not like as much as I appreciate the goal contribution from Cucurella, but I don't think for me that will be the premise for which I take a defender. Um, so I think I would sit out on Cucurella
Okay,
on this one. I would most likely kneel towards Olaina. Um, Olaina
okay.
was fantastic this season.
Okay. I saw for the last position in the on the defensive line. I have two standouts in my mind, and they're both teammates. That is Nikola Milenkovic
Mm.
and Ola Anya.
The
How do
truth
you feel
is,
about
the
that?
truth is, we're playing practically in a stable line of three at the back. Milenkovic walks in there. It gives you a bit more.
I think
But
mm,
if we're looking at the overall performance of the season, I think Olaina has offered something peculiar from the right back position. He's solid when defending. He offers an outlet of pace when going forward. He tucks into the midfield if you have him do that. So I think that flexibility and variety to his game is just why I would say let's give Olaina that shout.
okay. You know what?
Yep.
I'll, I'll are you sure we can't squeeze Cucurella into this conversation?
Well, I don't
Okay,
think
no.
so. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay.
Uh, I
I
like
think
Cucurella, no
okay.
doubt. Spanish player, former Barcelona player, impressive season,
Exactly like that.
but no, no, it
Yeah.
doesn't make it. Not
So,
this
I
one.
must say.
It keeps if it
So
keeps
I
up that
think
performance and
I,
Chelsea does well next season, probably yes, but not this one.
yeah, I think you know what? I think I'll go with our Nigerian brother. I
Absolutely,
think I'll go with that. I'll go with that.
absolutely.
Ola Anya gets in the last position. So now we'll go to the midfield. And we have any nailed on position, any nailed on players
I
in this
have
position
an
or
absolute nailed down midfielder that should be there. I know that
okay, let's hear it.
people's opinion might be different, but I think for the season that I witnessed, that I watched, he's by miles the epitome of what a midfielder should be, and that's Caicedo. Caicedo is everything and more. I know that Chelsea may have had this rocky patch. I know that, sometimes I banter about Chelsea and all of that, but Caicedo, whenever I look at that guy, I'm like, oops, now I see why everybody was going for him. Now I see why Brighton is like, he had to give us XYZ amount of money. He is just way more mature than his age. His presence on the pitch and it's not one of those that are just keeping busy by running everywhere around the pitch. He's running to the ball, he's recovering the ball, his passing range is good. His interplay with, in fact, literally is one of the bright lights for any Chelsea fan this season. And I
I
absolutely
I won't I won't argue against any of those things you said. So 'cause I think yeah, I can. Oh,
And this is not
I
me
agree with that,
buttering you up.
Caicedo.
I wish there was a better player
No,
to
I know,
take
I
that
know,
place,
I know.
just to spite you a little
Uh,
bit, but absolutely no. In reality, I think Caicedo
okay,
is nailed down for me.
okay. Caicedo goes in. What about Caicedo is one of them. What about Ryan Gravenberch from Liverpool? Do you think him or any of his teammates in midfield get in?
No, Gravenberg for sure is a good shout. But I would go for McAllister more. Just because of
McAllister.
yeah, I'll go for McAllister over Gravenberg. McAllister's control, just look at the minutes where McAllister is not even on the pitch for Liverpool. That tells you
Yeah, it's
so much about
that
his
different team.
relevance. Yeah, that tells you so much about his relevance. And he's one of those players where these days we're all gravitating back towards the eyeball test when you watch players, right? I
As it
can't,
should, as it always should
as it
be.
should be, but I can't tell you one thing McAllister is bad at. One
Yeah,
thing I can't
that's
tell
fair.
you what he's bad at.
Well,
So,
yeah,
so
that's true.
his understanding of the game, the control of the tempo. He's got the passing range, long shot. He knows how to occupy the space. He knows how to link up play. Another good shout out could have been Suboslai because I personally like his shooting abilities. I like him talking in and out of the
Yeah,
goal
yeah,
scoring position. But I'll just put McAllister there next to Caicedo.
yeah. I think Szoboszlai has a shot because I think he's had an impact on this Liverpool team in a very significant way because his off the ball work has been significant to what they've accomplished this season. His pressing, the yards he covers, his tracking of runners, especially down that right hand channel where Salah and Trent are, where they're not quite the best defenders in that position. But I think his work rate has been very essential for Liverpool. Gravenberch, I understand. I think Gravenberch is one of those players that is sort of a revelation this season, where he became a player we didn't expect him to become, and he's filled a role in that Liverpool team that no one penned him to fulfill this season. But also at the same time, I feel he had a good start to the season, but I feel somewhat since I don't know if it's I think it's probably fatigue because I think he's literally played just about every game for them this year. His performance has started to tail off towards the since the turn of the year, but I think out of all of them, I think McAllister is probably the most consistent out of all three
Yeah,
in terms of what it brings to that team. And with this new Liverpool team, they've gone away from that club style of football to a more controlled, more passes, more progressive passes from midfield. They taking the game in midfield. I think McAllister is a very and he's also chipped in with some fantastic goals this season as well.
yeah.
He has a great strike on him. So I think I'm happy with McAllister. I think I'm happy with McAllister. And the last pick, I think for me this has to be I think this is probably the most obvious one. And sorry, Arsenal fans, it's not Declan Rice. Two free kicks against Real Madrid don't get you into the Premier League team of the season, in my opinion. So no, but I think the last no, I said I think the last pick has to go to Yuri Tillemans. I think in my
Hmm.
opinion, he's been one of the most consistent players in the entire league this season, and
Hmm.
his contributions to this Aston Villa team, the maturity, the control, the composure he brings to that team cannot be understated. He's a very, very unique player, and not just in the Premier League. I know we talked about someone's achievements in the Champions League, but I also think his performances in the Champions League against PSG per se at in the return leg was fantastic. But he's not getting in for just his Champions League games. But I think in the Premier League he's been one of the standard midfielders that I feel generally has been consistent. I think there's also a guy like Enzo Fernandez who I think we can have a conversation for Enzo Fernandez, but I think with Enzo Fernandez more.
The problem I have with
I think
Enzo
he's
is not in his abilities, in this
is
consistency of performing that with
exactly
that high
like
ability. So,
the
well,
volume of his performances have been a bit not sure, but I think how do you feel about Tillemans getting in?
to be honest, I wouldn't have put him there before your shout, but with the points that you've put out there, I think he's much more of a better option than what I was thinking. I was fancying Tolani. Um, I was
Okay,
fancying Tonani
totally.
his presence, what he's done for Newcastle,
Yeah,
his ability to be clutch as well. And you know the connection with Bruno Guimaraes
Bruno
and
Guimaraes, yeah.
and all those things sounds good, but no, I take that back. I would stick with Telemans. I think Telemans have had a much more better impact for Aston Villa. I think he barely missed a game for Aston Villa. Chipped in with
Yeah.
goals and
Uh-huh.
assists when required. And although that is not the base for which I will put him there, but I think the overall control he brings to their play,
Yeah.
no, it's and his technical abilities this season is
Yeah.
off the roof as well. So yeah, I think
Okay.
Telemans should make him there.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting. I think, and obviously I agree with you. So now I think this is
This is we're going to the top
the
four now. Is that where we're going? Well,
yeah,
no,
we're going,
we're
yeah,
completing the
so
diamond. um
exactly.
so
So we're looking
if
for
Caicedo,
the
yeah,
crown on this.
so if Caicedo sits in as
So
a CDM, and we've got
yeah,
McAllister
then
and
you got
Tielemans on both side of the flank with him, on both side of the
we're
midfield with
looking,
him. So now we're looking for that link between the midfield and the attack, right? That's what we're looking for.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm,
yeah.
good shout, good shout.
Okay, who do
Definitely
you
not
have
Cole Palmer.
for
He
your?
came top of my mind, but no, not Cole Palmer.
Oh yeah, oh
He's
yeah, yeah.
had
No, 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 no,
incredible
no,
season,
no, no,
but
absolutely no,
incredible
no, no, no,
early
no,
start of
no,
the season, but he dropped off so bad. Not Cole Palmer.
no,
That would
no.
have been a position
No, performance.
that Phil Foden would have played very well
Phil
last season,
Foden, yeah,
but
another,
this
another
season
disappointment.
is just it's not just him. Um,
But
how
you know what? I think for this, I think for this position, I'm gonna go for a bit of samba flair, a bit of Joga Bonito. I'm
mm,
gonna
do
go.
we
I
still
think
have that in the Premier
Matt.
League? Do we have a Joga
Oh,
Bonito player in the Premier League? I'm thinking of who are the
well,
Brazilians?
no,
Who are the
well,
Brazilians tearing things up
well,
in
the
the?
closest. No, okay, 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 okay. I think the closest to that is Matt Cunha. I think
Uh,
Cunha has been a very in a team that has somewhat struggled,
no, no,
particularly struggled in the beginning of the season.
absolutely,
I think
absolutely, absolutely. Say no more. Say no more. Cunha
I
goes in
think
there.
Cunha. Then I think
Goes in
Cunha.
there.
There's shouts for. I think obviously no other guard here. It's not had a good season. Bruno Fernandez.
No, Bruno. No.
Okay,
Manchester
okay.
United are
Just no,
somewhere
just
closer to relegation than anything else. Um, in the
wait,
Premier
wait, wait,
League,
wait, wait, wait.
yeah, closer to relegation than anything else in the Premier League. No Manchester United player or Tottenham Hotspur player
Yeah,
deserves a shout out here. No.
that no, no. See, because I was thinking maybe I was thinking, oh, am I going to be too far with Cunha because his team where they flirted with that relegation position. But I checked it, Wolves are actually ahead of United on the table. That's crazy.
What
But
was Wolves'
I think
position on the
Cunha.
table right now? 12? Something like that?
I think they are 14th.
14.
They're 14th on the
No,
table.
regardless,
What
like think
about
about Cunha's individual contribution. Because I'm thinking about it, like even scanning through the top, Odegaard has not had a good season this year. He's average at best, so he can't play that link
15
position.
goal? Cunha 15 goals and 6 assists. I know he had some disciplinary problems with the FA, but I
Yeah,
think 15
no,
goals and 6 assists.
we're not.
That's a fantastic return.
Yeah, we're not character police. FA deal with Cunha best way possible,
Oh,
but
I
based on
like.
what we see on the pitch, my G, Cunha goes in there.
Okay, another name that just popped up. Is there a conversation from Morgan Rogers and Morgan Gibbs White for this particular position?
Do they have better contribution than
Well,
Cunha this season? Cunha literally dragged Wolves to
well,
wherever they are right now.
yeah.
Wolves was looking like a guaranteed
Morgan
relegation team.
Morgan Rogers he has 18 goal contributions this season, 10 goals, 8 goals and 10 assists. But I think one factor that I'll give to Cunha is I think he's been a shining light in a very average team this season, and it's not a knock on any other player that we're not that probably won't get in, but I just feel I like it. I always feel a player that takes more responsibility in their teams, and I feel Cunha has done exactly that at Wolverhampton Wanderers this season. So I think Cunha
Yeah, and just
just
to
goes on
add,
top of the diamond.
yeah, and just to add to that, he's an ever willing runner to go in behind to go with the ball. He will beat his man all day long if he has to. His finishing, people don't give enough credit for his finishing. Like
His shooting
yeah,
is
it doesn't
fantastic as
have to
well.
be yeah, it doesn't have to be top beans all the time or bottom low all the time, but he just finds a way to put the ball on the right.
He has he has that spark, and I think he probably scored one of the best goals I saw this season. I think his volley against I think it was against Fulham where the centre back hits like a
Yeah,
60-yard pass. He brings it down on his I think on his left foot. Then finishes fantastic with that same foot,
yeah,
almost Dennis Beckham like. So I think Cunha gets it.
yeah, I
So
know.
now
It's phenomenal.
I think
The front three, I
the
think, is
final
the
three
easiest of
positions.
the lot. Maybe one of which can get a bit up in the air, but I think it's
Yeah,
the
that
easiest of the. I
a
feel
bit
like,
dicey.
yeah, I feel like the right wing. I'm sorry, Saka,
So no,
Starboy. I like you,
but
but no, Salah
yeah,
it is
no,
right
no
wing.
Saka.
Osaka, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Not
yeah,
consistent
Salah.
enough, injuries in and out. How do you leave
Not
Salah
enough
out of this
goals.
team?
No,
EPL winner.
yeah,
I think he probably will walk away with the EPL Golden Boot as well. Um,
yeah. He certainly will. I think with Salah, is probably. I think he had this run of I think about 5 months where he was just breaking record after
he
record,
was on
record
a
after record
rampage.
when he was chasing his contract. But I think he's been fantastic for Liverpool this season. Probably the reason why they are champions right now.
Yeah,
And the number nine position, it's I think Isaac. That's
yeah,
clear.
it's clear.
Yeah, but
Haaland does not have the best season by his standard. For some reasons, I feel
is
like
there a conversation? Is there a conversation for Chris Wood on from Nottingham Forest, or is
oh,
it just straight up Isaac?
Wood is good, but I wouldn't. If I had to pick Wood over Isak, I'll go Isak all day.
Okay,
Wood
yeah,
is
fair
good.
enough, fair enough.
Wood is vital for what
Mm.
um they needed to do as a club, but
It's had
yeah, no, like
it's
I wouldn't
it's
fault
had a
anybody
very good
who
season
goes
as
in
well.
that direction if they were looking to play two strikers up top. I wouldn't say, oh, this is bonkers, but if we're having one out for out guy leading the line, I would have Isaac because of his link up play as well, not just only his goals contribution. He kind of connects the dots for that Newcastle team. He runs in
Okay,
behind. He had an amazing goal at the start of the season, but probably almost dribbled past every other player and then laid the ball off.
yeah,
No, Isaac it is.
yeah.
I'm more
Okay,
curious
Isaac
on the
and.
left forward.
And I think the left forward. I know he hasn't played a lot of minutes in that particular position, but I just think his performances this season and his improvement this year, how he's taken over the goal scoring mantle in his team, he has to go in, and that is Brian Mbeumo. I think he's this. I think
Mm.
for on this one, I'll fight you on this one. I
Mm.
think Brian Mbeumo has to be in the Premier League team of the season. He has to. He has like if you look, there's no reason why Brian Whitmer doesn't get into this team right now.
The funny thing is this, right? Immediately we settled for the 3-4-3 position. I was thinking in my mind, who has been the standout left wing or left forward player? Diaz hasn't given me enough. Gakpo hasn't been consistent
Mm.
as well. There's nobody on the Chelsea side that makes
Doku's
it. Doku is
Arsenal,
dancing
no,
more than he's scoring. Um, Gabriel Martinelli,
no
I wouldn't
chance.
have him there. Trossard,
That's
Belligot,
that's
Smith.
that's that's the opposite. Whatever the opposite of Joga Bonito is, that's what Martinelli is.
No, I don't agree with you. I think he's working. He's getting better at his Thierry Henry like finish. Rolling it below and finding the other corner. Yeah, I think he's getting better at that. But yeah, I'm not a Joga Bonito
Okay,
material for sure. But like I'm just
okay,
combing through my mind, thinking who would be
okay.
that
Just yeah,
left winger,
no.
and
But
I think
I think
Mbemo is just about
I think
it.
it's probably. I think currently he has 19 Premier League goals. I wouldn't put it past him to get 20 to make it 20 on the final day of the season. So I think he's
And how many assists does he have
19
again?
8 assists.
Oh, you see, that's
That's
that's ridiculous. Those are crazy numbers. So we're looking at about
those are
20. We're looking at about 27 goal contribution in about 37 games. That's
in 37 games
yeah. So no,
for
that's a lot.
yeah.
That's a lot for
That I
for
think
playing from. But his body
okay.
visa as well. I know team of
Yeah,
the season is a big shout,
so
but. But Wisa had an amazing
You
season
know,
as well.
yeah, I think shout out to Wissam and also to Michael Damsgaard. That's another shot for
Mm,
all of those midfield positions. But I think I'm happy with the midfield we've got. So the final position on the left, that's Brian Mbeumo.
yeah, Brian Bomo. Yeah,
Okay, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So just to recap for our listeners, we're going with a three at the back system, diamond in midfield, and three attacking players. So we got Ola Ania as one of the defenders, Virgil van Dijk, Gabriel Magalhaes as the last centre back, Caicedo, McAllister, and Yuri Tillemans. Matthias Cunha in the number 10 position, or the traditional number 10 position. Salah on the right flank, and Brandon Mbeumo on the left, and Alexander Isak leads the attack. I
that
think
was a
I
brilliant 11. That is a
you,
brilliant 11
you,
for
you
24,
you know what?
25.
No, because you know what? I'm looking at it right now, and I think that's of course there will be different conversations so about who again with listeners you can't there's going to be conversation about 20 players that should be here. I know Arsenal fans will be on our backs. Declan Rice should be in here, but I'm sorry.
Nah,
Free kicks in Champions League don't get you into this.
no, no. That like if you were asked based off this season, who would I drop to have Declan? None, none, none.
Yeah, yeah,
Arguments
that's true.
it depends on how you look at football, but no, no, it's perfect.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
okay with
I
this. I'm
think
okay with it.
yeah,
This is a good 11.
I'm happy with that. So I think we'll get this out on the social pages in the next few days, and you can our listeners can interact with it, leave your comments. I'm sure there'll be some disagreements. There'll be some you all we have some strong opinions, but let's all have that conversation in the comment section. And please kindly like, share, and follow on our socials. So moving on from our team of the season to our awards section, and starting off with the best player in the Premier League this season. Who does that award go to? I think this is probably again this is the easiest one. We all agree on this one. That's
Mo,
Mo Salah, right?
Mo Salah.
Mo, yeah, Magic Mo. I think over the course of the season we've spoken highly on this player. The awards, I don't think is there any more you can add to how great his season has been.
Mo
I think
Salah
it's
has had. I probably
I
think
think I,
the first 5 months of the season is probably be the best in his entire career. In terms of impact, to the
okay.
team. And not just that, right? I don't know if it had anything to do with the contractual discussions, etc. But we saw a
Oh yeah,
different.
he
I
had,
don't know.
a lot. I know I know he played a part because the way I say there are very few motivations in this life than the fact that you're being you, that the people or decision makers have this opinion about you and you're hell bent to prove them wrong,
Yeah.
and there's something you're chasing. And particularly with Salah, when before the season started, he went about how he goes through his post-season routine after the season has been done. He goes on a solo holiday trip for like a few days,
Mm-hmm.
then he has a family vacation. But during that solo process, during that solo holiday, he has the process where he writes down his targets, or no, I don't know if he writes it down, but he sets out targets for the season, and that's basically become a better player than he was the previous year. And I think over the last 2 to 3 years, we've seen that manifesting. He's not just he's not just a goal scorer anymore. He's also creating goals for his teammates. He's not now. He's the leader in this Liverpool team. I think he captained Liverpool for the first time this week. So you see, he's grown from this flashy, fast-paced attacking player to this mature senior attacking elder statesman in this Liverpool team, guiding the younger attackers, creating for them, leading the attack. I think he's been very, very. I think it's been amazing. I don't know what his goal tally will be come end of the season, but I think he's obviously going to get the golden boot. The assist, I'm not sure where he stands in that
Yeah,
category right now.
let's
And
see,
let me just do a
the
quick Google.
assist? I think it's also
Yeah, let
double
me do a
double
quick.
digits for assist as well. So he probably might be leading that chart as well.
Yeah.
Thinking about it, probably might be leading it. But no doubt, Mo Salah all day long is the best EPL player this season. Good shout out will go to Alexander Isak. I think he added a bit more flair to
Okay,
the
yeah, it
Premier League this
does.
year.
Well, yeah. So Salah's. I think Salah, unless Isaac does the madness on the last day of the season, I think Salah's going to get the golden boots and he's going to get the most assists this season. That's fantastic.
You know, absolute spot on. So,
So moving on from the best player to the best young player this season. And we're not going to do what the Premier League does, where they have guys like Saliba nominated for a young player of the season. We're going to cap it at the age of 21.
yeah, yeah. I think 21 is the
Yeah,
official year that works with the Copper Trophy that is given to the
yeah. So
young.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely.
exactly.
Yeah, keep
So
it at 21.
so yeah, I think we'll go that. I'm not trying to give a young player of the year to a player that already has the
Uh,
full face
And then
of
also we can't give it to a player that has won it before, right? That's another thing that happens with young player awards. If you've won it before,
exactly
you don't get
exactly.
it again. So okay.
And I think so. Who's your? So I think for this, let's agree on this one. Then the rest can all be subjective. So who's your young player of the year,
So are we looking at
or who's
the
your
Premier
shout?
League or the entire of Europe?
So I think for this is just Premier League. Then we'll go into the European awards.
Okay, so for Premier League, oh, honestly, it's tight. But between Lewis Kelly, okay,
Yeah,
I still struggle to pronounce
Hoysens.
Hoysens. I've pronounced
Then
struggle.
no, he's moving to your biggest rivals. Don't worry, you will hear his name a lot in
Yeah, well, we'll see.
the next months.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We've had people say a lot of things, and then we know how to contain
Yeah,
that. But Hoisin, I still because every time I think Spanish, and then I have to adjust to Dutch. Oh, oh,
yeah,
so
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he has that. He has that
uh,
funny thing going on.
yeah.
But I,
So
but I
there's
think
another
I
guy that
think
I have in my bucket list, and one more is I think Diallo had a good spark at some point.
I'm a Diallo.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
had a good
yeah,
spark
yeah.
at
I
some
think
point
yeah,
where he was creating the difference, but it's just that
yeah.
again, his club didn't do much with that, so that kind of
You
affects
know, you,
the appetite.
again, I think I'm partial to, or I believe I am partial to attacking players. I always
Uh-huh.
try to lead towards the difference makers on the pitch. Well, I think I had Miles Lewis Kelly penned down on my list. But now that you mentioned Ahmad, I'm swaying a little bit towards Ahmad right now. I don't know how do you feel about that?
Yeah,
Like our
it's,
because this is
it's a good shout,
because
but
this is our official, this is football exponential official best young player of the season.
but
Wait, let me just check. Is does Ahmad fit into the age category?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, it doesn't.
How old is
It
it?
doesn't.
Because I know it's got to be
Is
his age.
he's 22. But if we're
He
going by the Copa Award,
is 21.
I think so. It's
Yeah, yeah,
21.
so we'll sit him out then. But to be honest, whether or not he did fit it, I was gonna go with
You know what, Hoysens?
Hoysens. That was, I mean, if you've got Madrid cashing out
What about
ASAP, that is a
what
statement.
what about Lewis Kelly?
I feel like Luis Kelly, with all due respect, I
Can
love
I
him. I
call?
love the prospect, but he came in at some point this season, right? He didn't have the like for me the longevity of his
Yeah,
performance is and also he has not been able to nail down a particular position, right? I feel like they've used him as makeshift everywhere, which has helped, maybe would help
mm.
in his development, but it doesn't allow me to
No, but
assess
no,
him
no.
particularly from one position or from one set of ability. Like for example, with Hush. Oh God, I apologize.
Hoysens,
With Hudson,
then
you know, I just
then Hoysen,
okay.
then
I'll
Hoysen.
just keep it as Dean. Okay, so you guys entertain me
You
as
keep it.
Dean.
The bomber.
No offense, no offense. But I'll just keep it as Dean.
Okay,
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 so
okay,
but
okay,
with Dean,
okay, okay,
like I saw
okay.
him all through the season. I saw. I saw what he could do as a centre back. I saw his interpretation of the football game. I saw his ability to read and make interceptions. And to cap it out, right, with everything that I saw, and I saw Madrid as well going out there and paying his release clause, that speaks a lot.
Yeah, I think I think that's for that Madrid, like, because Madrid, I think that they don't quite. They rarely spend money on defenders these days. They wait for that. They hunt those free transfers where they can get them. They do sign they sign big players in defense, but they don't really pay cash out for those players.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if Real Madrid can shell out 50 million euros or pay your release cost 50 million euros just before the season is even done, that's a big testament to the young to how great or how good they deem this young guy to be. Okay, I think I'm happy with the Hoysens. Best signing. What's your best signing this season?
Mm.
So that's again best signing, the guy that came in
Yeah,
the
and
summer
made a
window, the
difference.
January window,
Yeah.
and had an impact on their respective team.
Mamouche did a good one coming in January, but not enough.
Yeah,
He came in at a time when Man City needs some stability.
some
Yeah,
some
something
spark.
different. He did give that, but it's not enough to get that shout. Um, I'm just thinking for some of the business that happened all the way in the summer, nothing not notable from the Arsenal side, nothing notable from Liverpool as well, because everybody Liverpool had, they pretty much had them the season before, right? Um, coming through my mind. Newcastle, I don't see anything. Uh,
Newcastle, Liverpool, no cares are also going, and Man City no. I think I'll probably go mine. Mine is Nikola Milenkovic, and this is I think this is the guy that probably is one of the reasons why Newcastle are fighting for the Champions League place. They've already confirmed a position in Europe this season. He came from Fiorentina for I think 12 million pounds.
mhm,
That's looking like a real bargain these days. His leadership in the back, like his leadership in the back, physicality, his is almost so a throwback to those centre backs of the past few years
mhm,
or past decade, the Vidic, those guys where
mhm,
they
mhm,
defend first, they don't worry about playing out on the back.
mhm,
When you have to head the ball, he puts his head on the ball.
mhm.
But I think ideally he's the guy that fits into the ethos of what Nottingham Forest are trying to do. Defend well, defend brave, defend strong, and also a leader in that back line. He's always communicating with his defensive partner Murillo. I think he's again for the price these days where we see a lot of Premier League players burning pounds these days. I think for 12 million pounds, I don't think you can find a better value for money than Nikola Milenkovic.
Yeah, and I think he will probably get sold. They will come for him this season as well. It depends. It might be able to hold his
Yeah,
fort. He has a long length
depends.
in his contract.
Yeah,
I think he's got
yeah,
a 5 years
and
contract. So,
and and then if again they might get the Champions League football on the potentially on the horizon. That can also keep him there in the forest for the next few years. Okay, flop of the
um,
season.
I'm just trying to remember. I was Yeah, I think yeah, I know. Okay, yeah, I know you're right. So, yeah, I'm okay with that. So, flop of the season.
Okay,
Player,
yeah, player flop of the season.
for me, it's easy.
I know. Who
Very easy. The
who's that?
exact person that won the player of the season last year. He is my exact flop of the season this year. And it's Phil Foden. It's as easy as it can be. It's as easy as maths can be. It's a situation of subtraction.
See, no, no. See, you know what? I'll let you cook. This is all you.
Yeah, because this
Tell me
is
about
this
Foden.
is a player who just made a U-turn, right? Hey, heading to the because before last season, everybody's like, let this guy cook, give him his time, let him be this, let him be that, let him do this. And then last season he got his time. Even at that, we were like, oh, why even let him rest at all? Play him more because he was giving you all manner of top corners, top bin, bottom corner, bottom right, shots outside the box. And this season, he just literally cannot score. He is not creating
Yeah, and
enough.
he's not even. It's not even. He doesn't. These days he doesn't get on the pitch since. I think since Mahmoud signed for Man City. I would like it to be interesting to see he starts since January because even on the past weekend, the FA Cup final, he starts on the bench.
Yeah,
And I know KDB is probably club captain, however, KDB starts. There's Bernardo Silva starts ahead of you. Salvinho, Doku are all start ahead of you. These are not I know KDB is KDB, but these other guys are not particularly in the best of forms.
yeah,
They might not even be
yeah.
good players for what Man City are trying to do. And with form, it's not just with Man City this season. This goes all the way back to
So the
the last
summer
Euros with
Euro, yeah,
England, where
barely. I think that was where he
where
started, right?
he
That was where he fell off the
yeah
cliff.
he
That was where he
goes
fell off the
he,
cliff.
he go
Started.
he goes into that team. They move the England manager then finds different configurations just to get him in his ideal position as one of the central attacking players. But he doesn't his performances just were not good enough. Like for a player that has been so highly rated, Stockport, Iniesta and all that. I think with in the last year or so, I think I have this belief that Pep Guardiola never really rated this player the way a lot of people rated him. Of course, I find it strange where, okay, yeah, I know, of course, you have to get the best players when you can get the best players for a team like Man City. But KDB is leaving Man City now. Ideally, this should be a full folding team. This is where full folding becomes the fulcrum of this team. But when I see reports of Man City willing to break the British transfer record for their vets to come and play in the position where you expect Phil Foden to be in, that's in the sends alarm bells in my head, and which then opens the window. Like his future on Man City is it guaranteed going forward if Pep is still right? If Pep remains as head coach, I can't say for sure right now because I won't be surprised if they're willing to listen to offers of Phil Foden because for whatever reason I don't think Pep doesn't rate him as much as the English press or the English media rate him. I think Pep sees a totally different player than what people believe is there.
To be fair,
This
it's like
again.
yeah,
This is all speculation.
yeah. Like for
This
me,
is, but I think
it's
there might be something there.
it's pretty much like a bag of chips for me. Like you can tilt either way because I felt like as of last season, Pep rated him, and there are certain players I believe Pep understands that the development of these players are not going to be very linear, upward trajectory all through.
Yeah,
So I feel like he was one
that's
of
true.
those
That's true.
that Pep intentionally seemed like he wanted to manage him a bit more. And probably maybe he succumbed to the pressure from the English press, he succumbed to the pressure from, the club fans, etc., and gave him way more minutes. And that burnout started in the summer competition in Euros, right? And from then on, he never recovered. So I feel like there was
Yeah,
obviously the English tax to the player's quality.
that's a good point.
Yeah, and
That's a
then
good
he
point.
just yeah, and one thing I like about Pep, he plays the players who are in form. That's the truth. If you're not, if you drop
But
form, you
I
stop
know,
playing.
but I think Pep also has his favorites in that Man City team. I think a guy like Bernardo Silva is one of Pep's favorite players in that Man City
The
team.
funny thing is that there are things that Bernardo Silva does that none of the other wingers do.
Yeah, and that's
And
why he's highly favored by
that's why
Pep
he's highly
because
favored.
he's
But that's the
I
form
think
that I'm
tactically
referring
is
to.
one of
He's very tactically intelligent and he's also very hardworking,
yeah.
extremely hardworking, regardless of his age, right? And he also has the spatial awareness as to when to where and how to be around the pitch. So he knows that, and Pep would play him because of those abilities, as opposed to a more flashy Savio and all of that. But they cannot have better understanding and interpretation of the position and Pep's expectation of that
Okay.
position. So
I think that's an interesting pick. I was gonna go with one I think one of the players I despise the most. So like there's like this player in my eyes has no redeeming element to his game. And that's Joao Felix. I don't know how Chelsea got involved in this situation where we've been inherited Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid's problem, and it's not our problem.
well,
And this is the guy. Because this is a guy you sign him. Okay, say he comes back because again he had a disastrous first
hmm
he had a disastrous loan at Chelsea. Goes back to Atletico Madrid. Then they ship him all the way to Barcelona. Goes to Barcelona, plays so bad. Barcelona they had no choice but to give the keys to a 16-year-old Yamal, who obviously proved how great he was. Then he goes back to Atletico Madrid, sulks on the bench. They ship him all the way to Chelsea. He comes to Chelsea, scores on his second debut for the club. Then from there, he just
Vanishes.
stayed on the bench. He just no. If you, no, not quite vanishing. He just stays on the bench. He sucks a bit more. Generally comes he and his agent. They all kick a fuss. He finds his way all across Europe to AC Milan. He goes to AC Milan. Oh, you know how there's this. You know when like how the press like to sing the praise of a player where they believe there has a bit of something. They say, oh yeah, this thing, oh AC Milan, Joao Felix, plays number he wants to play number 10 position. Oh, this is the new Kaka. We found AC Milan found the heir to Kaka's throne at the club. He's called on his debut, and since then he's just been nothing. It's just like genuinely, he's probably one of the most talented players, and at the same time, he plays some of the worst football you will see from any attacking player. But he has the talent. But whenever I see this guy, his touches are off, decision making is poor, and to make matters worse, his work rate is. I think his efforts in a team sport for his teammates in any tactical setup is non-existent. Now he's going to come back to Chelsea with I don't know this problem we have now. We're going to find a way to I don't know, just ship him around Europe for the next. Because again, like
On
again,
top
no,
of that,
Chelsea, you
on
know,
top of that,
I,
Chelsea have got to pay money to Man U if you don't want Jadon. I'm sorry, guys, but this is hilarious. We need a different edition to cover this.
no, no, no,
On top of
no,
that,
no, no.
Chelsea
See,
literally got to pay money back to United for saying, I don't want Jadon Sancho.
you,
And you've got Joe
you
Felix
know
to
what?
condemn
See,
me.
no. See, no. You know what? I'll make this a double picture. Joao Felix and Jadon Sancho. Do you know how bad you have to play for the club that you're on loan at, and they have an obligation to sign you? And during that process, like, you know what? Nah. This obligation, I know we're obligated to sign him, but we'd rather take a fine not to sign that player. That's how bad Sancho has been at Chelsea. I'd rather take a penalty to just exit a clause. So that's how bad it's been. So you know what? See, is a joint venture lots of the season. Joao Felix and Jadon Sancho. I also agree with Phil Foden. That's a big shout.
Something on
And
the
with
lighter note, at least Chelsea have got JJ, but not a coach.
I think when the season wraps, I think I think when the season wraps, we'll try and do like
We'll
a
uncover each
few
session
segments. Just
for each clubs
so
and see.
so so,
But yeah,
so
I'll make
I
sure to
think
remind you of this one. It's interesting.
yeah. So I think I'll save I'll save some of my frustration that's left for that episode because I can go all day talking about those guys particularly and Robert Sanchez. But let's move on. Okay, most improved player in the
Mm.
Premier League.
You know who I'm gonna genuinely give it to? Tylemans.
Yeah, Settlements.
Yeah, he's been a
Hmm.
revelation because I watched him from Leicester and I think about that
Yeah,
progression onto who
yeah,
he is right now.
yeah. Then
Is
yeah, because he scores the winning goal against Chelsea in the FA Cup final. Then I don't know, for some reason he leaves Leicester on the free transfer. None of the traditional top six clubs showing interest, and finds himself at Aston Villa. But I think with Unai, I think Unai has done a fantastic job in harnessing this player's true potential. Because he's always been one of those players that always has talent, but sometimes you don't know where the talent is taking him to.
yeah.
But I think right now, particularly this season, he sits on the top shelf in terms of midfielders in Premier League. I like that shot, but I think I'm gonna go with Brian Mbeumo. And with Mbeumo, I'll add a bit of context where a team like Brentford, well coached team by Thomas Frank, well run and structured club. They let go of Ivan Toney,
Uh-huh.
the club talisman, top goal scorer, top marksman. They let him go, and the question arises: how do you replace his goals, or how do you replace his contributions in attack in that team? I think Brentford. I think I think they got a guy from Brazil, from Belgium, but I think he got injured in preseason, so
Hmm.
they had to go what they had: Kevin Shade, Damsgaard, Wissa, and Brian Mbeumo. But the level Brian Mbeumo has got into this season is nothing short of, I think, marvelous. It's just to consider because he's has scored any Tony season in the Premier League
Yeah.
at Brentford. His goal this season is doubled his previous two seasons tally
Mm-hmm.
this year particularly, and I think he's just been a constant force in attack. I think like the guys that when you say okay, you know what, they're almost inevitable. I know when we play fantasy, the APL fantasy, okay, you know, okay, Liverpool is Salah, Newcastle is Isaac. I think if you go down that list on top five, you see him going because he's always his goals and assist numbers are outrageous this season, and I feel he's a player that will improve just about any team in the Premier League. He can. That I don't think there's one. I think he starts for every Premier League team right now because
Absolutely.
he's that good of an
That I think
attacker,
of right now.
and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and I think with him in the world of Premier League footballers, PR, all that stuff. I think one part that probably hinders him from that move is, again, this is my opinion. Don't shoot me. I think he needs to cut his facial hair because the bet. No. Hear me out. Because no. Because I think that look makes him look a lot older than he actually is.
Yeah.
Because you know a lot of a lot of top players,
Mm-hmm.
they look at the data and they look at the age profile. Okay, can we go?
Mm-hmm.
Can we get this guy and all that? But I think with him, is how
No,
old is
well,
he
because the
exactly?
funny thing is like if then
He's
that's
25.
yeah, so that's something catastrophic from
He's
every scout in the Premier League if they don't go fact finding to actually look at it. I know
but
I know the appearance looks that way, but like again,
yeah,
I've seen players that look older than they are, but they're actually younger. But you
because it's
know,
one because you see I don't know if I don't know if he's gone bald by choice. Like
mhm.
he has the bald head. He has long
Yeah, facial hair
facial
and
hair.
all of
Like
that.
it's
No.
yeah, that's a good look. But like, I think if you can cut that clean face, look a bit younger, that's good attract. But I think that doesn't. I think that doesn't happen. I think his football can has done
No,
enough for him
his
because
football
he's
has done
been
enough
really.
for sure. And you did make a good shout there
And
because I think he walks into I mean, all of the big
I think
six
every. I think every single team in the Premier League,
walks in there
Liverpool,
and becomes an
Chelsea's,
automatic
Arsenal.
starter. Yeah, this like based off
Yeah,
performance,
and it's
nobody would. Yeah.
no because there's because if you listen to ex Premier League strikers talk about goals in Premier League, yeah, any guy that can score 10 goals a season in the Premier League, that is good. But he can get 20 Premier League goals. That is the I know that's not Salah or Haaland's numbers, but that is really good numbers.
Especially
Well, I think it's
playing for the team that he plays for, Brentford. They're now
exactly.
notoriously known for scoring excessive amount of goals. So
Well, I know, but you say that, but statistically,
no, I mean this season, yes, but I'm saying
they
over their history, right? This season they've been
yeah.
more been more attack oriented,
They're
but
not an attack.
yeah,
They're not an attacking club. Yeah, I
yeah.
get you. So I think last award for the Premier League is the best coach award.
Easy peasy.
Not for me. I have a left field shout, and I'll let you go yours first.
So easy peasy if we go by achievement. But I feel like the, I didn't get to witness the litmus test. I didn't get to see when Liverpool, like, I would love to see how Liverpool react when it's 2 or 3 points between them and who's next, right? When there is that, and you're getting closer to the end of the challenge, there's actually a title challenge. You have the pressure on you to go and win a game when your contender has just won theirs, or not drop points when you're playing fast. And I didn't get to see that from Ansel Slot, right? So I can't really talk about
And
that
so,
pressure, right? But coming in and doing in your first year what it took Klopp 6 years to achieve or thereabout, that is a statement.
speak on it,
That's a
speak on it.
statement, right? And
And
also there are more than enough reasons why he should walk with his head held high because for over 20 something years, this is just the second Premier League title for Liverpool, right? Ah,
No. For no, it's there's actually two Premier League titles in 32 years.
yeah, so it's the second, so you are the guy bringing the second one in 30 something years. Uh, I just
Which and the first Premier League title with fans in the stadium.
exactly. So with the actual pressure
So
of
because
of
that
performing in Anfield, so that's another thing, right? So
exactly,
but
exactly.
I feel like people are playing that down. I feel like the Liverpool fans have not celebrated this
No,
Premier League as they should.
because
I know they
no,
feel a bit disappointed with how they dropped off in European competition, etc. But but that to bring that much stability in such a short time, I mean, nothing against Arteta, but he's been trying to steady the ship and win something in 5 years.
yeah,
And this is a
and again because
ridiculously,
I think you mentioned it.
yeah, this is a ridiculously good crop of players that you've got in Arsenal in the last couple of years, and the coach is also good, but they can't just achieve that. So for Slot to do it, I think it makes it a clear decision why he should be the coach of the year for EPL. But I think they're more tactical geniuses like the Unai Emery. They're more
Yeah,
drilling
then
coaches. Like
I know
there's different
the other
variations to it.
there's also shout out to guys like Andoni Raiola,
Mhm.
Espirito Santo, Thomas Frank, those guys. But I
Okay.
also feel, but I think for me this is I agree with you. I think Slot's probably the unanimous choice for the manager or the coach of the year. But I think particularly for me, I'm gonna go with a different choice, and that is gonna be Eddie Howe.
I saw that coming. I
And
saw that
no,
coming. I
because
saw that
no.
coming. Go
I
on.
know, because I know. I think for those who know me, I know that I've been singing this guy's praises for the last 10 years, and I think I'm going to take this opportunity to actually give him his flowers. Where the work he's done at Newcastle in the last 3 years is remarkable. The levels he's put them to, not just in the Premier League, but also winning that first trophy
In 100 and
in
something
over
years, yeah.
70 years.
70 years, yeah.
That's that that's an achievement is going to be in Newcastle history forever. He's a Newcastle legend already, but not just in the cup games, but in the level at which this team performs in Premier League, especially at home. Whenever the top teams go to that tough stadium, St James Park, the record against the traditional Big Six in that stadium is fantastic. I think on that day they can beat just about any team, and I said, and I don't say this like this. I think they can beat about any team in Europe on that day at home. And we saw that. I think we saw that last year when PSG got there. PSG gets demolished 4-1,
Mm-hmm.
and AC Milan found it tough. Russia Dortmund found it tough there as well. But I think if we can get them, if they can secure another Champions League position, that is wonderful for them. And if they can then push the needle in terms of the players they can recruit, I don't think it's that far. I don't think that far off from a Premier League challenge. Because I think right now they already have the tools. They have one of the best strikers in the league. That midfield configuration is as strong as any other teams.
Yeah.
Defense,
Gomes,
defense. I
Fellaini,
think
that's
defense we
good.
can do more depth. But guys like Dan Burn's been fantastic. Botman is fantastic, and I think
Livramento.
they also have two of the best. I think they have probably the best fullback combinations in the Premier League. Left back and right back, Livramento and Lewis Hall. So those two young English guys are fantastic defensively and going forwards. But I think Eddie Howe is just like I think he's a fantastic coach, I think his biggest strength is how he can his ability to improve players. Like we see, likes of Jacob Murphy, who has about the same amount of goals as Ballon d'Or favorites Yamin Lamar in Spain. You see guys like Anthony Gordon, even Tonali, who's fresh off his betting scandal. His comeback, he's found a position for him in that team. The Brazilian Joelinton, Bruno Guimaraes, we all know how good they are. But I think especially Arsenal know this team quite well. So I think big shout out to Eddie. I agree with you about on slots, but I think Eddie Howe gets my vote. But I think officially our coach of the year is going to be on slot. But
Yeah.
shout out to
Yeah.
Eddie Howe.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And okay, and I think that concludes our Premier League edition. But I think we decided to give it more flavor with this award segment, and we are doing just something nice, like European flavor to this award. So we're gonna go a few select picks, our European awards, and we're gonna start off with the best player. So this is, I think, it's just awards
Are we
across
going
the top
Ballon
five
d'Or,
leagues.
Ballon d'Or, Ballon d'Or, Ballon d'Or, Ballon d'Or?
Yeah, again, see, I was very, I was, I was very skeptical of involving or attaching that word to it. So
Of
that
course,
award Ballon d'Or to it. But I think generally, I think we might both have the same player, and I believe this is the best player currently playing football right now. I believe he should be the Ballon d'Or winner come whatever happens in the Champions League final, whatever happens in the next few months. Comes, I think the awards is in September, right?
yep, September.
So come September, I think he should be the number one on that podium, and we can. You're going because mine is definitely. I'll let you go with it. I'll let you drum roll, drum roll, drum roll.
We're going Lamine Yamal, Barcelona number 19.
Yeah,
Amazing, amazing,
17.
amazing 17 year
19 or
old.
17?
Barcelona number 19. That's his
Okay,
jersey.
17.
He's a
Yeah,
17-year
soon to
old.
soon soon to be number 10.
Soon to be fair, I'm skeptical about. I don't want that to happen. Really, I don't want
Yeah,
that to
do you
happen
feel?
right now. I feel like that is a lot of
Do you feel
pressure.
that? Do
I think he's handled it well, but just
you
let
feel
the
that's?
boy cook. Not now. Not in his
Do you feel
first
the?
senior contract.
But
That's a
I know,
lot.
but do
That's
you
a
also feel like
lot.
you feel it's a bad omen to give that number 10 shirt to him? Because you also saw
No, you can't base
how
on you
fat
can
Ansu Fati.
you can base an omen based on one occurrence, right? Fati is the only guy that's won it after, and so like if nothing else, Barca's number 10 historically have done really well, that number. Ronaldinho, like you keep going back, way back. So but it's just I just feel like, it's
Was Rivaldo number 10?
who?
Rivaldo was
No,
it
no,
number
I
10?
think Rivaldo was
Barca.
11.
I think 11. Okay. What about Figo?
Figo was 7.
I think Figo was in 7. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. No, I know, but if you have guys like Ronaldinho and Messi,
Yeah.
that's football heritage. That's football heritage right there. Those guys are probably
Yeah.
on the Mount Rushmore of football players of any generation.
Yeah.
But again, I agree with you. You know how my
I just feel
how
like
do
they
I say?
should they
I'm not going
should
to say
ease this
hate.
thing, like how do I put it now? Ease it piece by piece. Like you see the way we've got on from the normal schoolboyish Yamal, and then we got the blondie Yamal. We enjoyed the number 10, 19 for a little bit. Let's just have another season where he's still wearing 19 with another kind of jersey flavor. And then we see the we see that natural progression into the number 10. Not that he's not deserving of it next season.
But
It's not like he's not deserving of it next
but
season,
also
but yeah.
I know, but at the same time, if we both, and I know there are a lot of people out there that also agree with us. If there are a lot of people that can crown him right now as probably the best player currently playing football right now, why not just give it to him? Because if he's already that good, just say, damn, whoever comes, just give it. He deserves it already. Like he's earned that shirt. If and not just earned it, he's also shown he can carry the responsibility of being that guy at Barcelona right now. So I think I also think like when it comes to the player is off the pitch branding. That number 10 is also can also play into that.
No,
I have
I
no
think
problems
I
with
think he's
him.
gonna get it, but I'm just saying,
Yeah,
personal opinion.
because the thing I
Yeah,
think
personal opinion.
I
Like,
understand it. That's a
yeah,
bit.
because for me, I just kind of like to see that little bit of nurturing, which I think Barcelona have done quite well in recent times. But I just want to see that little bit of nurturing and like slowly getting him into pedestal. If the decision is to give him alongside his official contract that would happen in summer when he turns 18, why not?
But there's some I know, but is there not something that is I'm not quite sure. Is there not like was it there's this not a law, but like there's a ruling in the squad numbering that every number has to be hit. So there has to be a number 10 on Barcelona every season.
Oh
The
yeah,
current number
absolutely.
10
So
now is
there's
Ansu
yeah,
Fati.
so they have to be in
Is there
numbers.
something
Yeah,
like that?
yeah. There's a number hierarchy in Barcelona. You max out the first for the first team. You max out the 1 to 23 or 22 first before you start bringing in other numbers.
Okay.
So that's why you don't have people go
Okay.
all the way having number 99 or number 90 like you see in Syria and some
Okay.
other interesting things. Yeah,
Yeah,
so there is that.
yeah.
So,
But
but what I'm saying is like right now that number that pressure.
the history,
The
the
history,
legacy
the
of that number is
legacy is
very
just too much. It's too much.
it's
Like if it were
it's
up to me, I feel like an Omo, an extension. If you must have for this season, an Omo or something like just like a placeholder and just be like just calm it down.
no, yeah.
But
But
if they give it to him, I get it. If there is a need for Hansu Fati to be shipped out or shipped out, and then you
well, they
have to
have
transfer the number,
yeah.
then it's okay. You can do that. But if Ansu for whatever reason stays, right? Or if the club wants to have a makeshift. I just feel like number 10 in Barca is pressure. It's big.
Okay.
It's big.
So that's your
That's my
that's
Ballon
your
d'Or, Yamal. I think Usman deserves a shout out. Usman Dembele for the second
I
position.
think oh, okay.
If that is
Okay,
if
let's
PSG wins
okay,
it,
let's get our fun. Let's get the podium 1, 2, and 3 right now. So we're going Yamal number one,
yep,
undisputed number one,
undisputed.
best player currently playing football in Europe. Number two,
I'll
who do
give
you?
I'll give
I
I'll
think
give
number two,
Usman.
Dembele.
Yeah, Usman Dembele.
I think
Dembuz, yeah.
I'll give them both regardless of what happens in the Champions League final.
Well,
And number three,
okay, go on.
number I think for me, I think number three, I'll give Pedri.
Number three, I give Rafa.
Number three,
I give
I
Rafinha.
give Rafinha.
Yeah, I give Rafinha number three.
The
I give Rafinha number
the
three.
Brazilian that can Brazilian that can dribble.
Well, the one that can find the back of the net for sure. That one. Um,
So okay, no,
and the
okay, so
one
no,
that doesn't
okay,
and the one
so
that
no,
doesn't
okay.
cry on the pitch.
Has this scored more goals than Mbappe? If we're going by that metric, goals.
Well, he scored more crucial goals. He scored more meaningful goals. He's not one of
No,
those
no,
that
no, no,
have
no,
two
no,
hat
no,
tricks
no.
and then lose the
That,
game. He's not.
that's subjective.
No, he has
That's
scored more
subjective.
crucial goals. Oh
No,
well,
it's no,
well, but
again
I think
subject.
across the
No, no,
season he has scored more than Mbappe. Across the season he's had more goals contribution. Let me rephrase. Across the season he's had more goals
no,
contribution,
we're
which is
talking.
going
No,
by
no, no,
goals
no.
scored and
So
assists combined. I think he has more than Mbappe. Yeah,
okay, you see, you know what? Okay, fairness.
and plus
That's the opinion. And
he has
what?
three official trophies more as well. So
Okay, fair enough.
yeah.
Fair enough. I think that's nice. So, best young player currently in Europe right now.
Obi is another interesting one. Again, we're sticking with the 21 years and below, right?
Yeah, yeah, 21. Yeah,
And
there's no.
has never won the trophy before, right?
Um, no, really. I think like let's keep it open. Let's
No,
keep it
because if
open.
you had won the
I
trophy,
think there's
if you had
just
won the trophy before, Yamal gets it again.
no. Okay, let's exclude Yamal. If you get the Ballon d'Or, you see, you get the Ballon d'Or, you're not getting the Copa.
I'm
You
not
get the
saying you
Ballon d'Or,
can't.
they'll
I'm
give
saying
someone
maybe
else.
someday it's gonna happen and the La Masia guy is gonna come and do the double. Who knows? But
Well, till then. So I think anybody under 21 that is not Yamal, best young player in Europe.
um, this comes with some Barca bias, of course. But I encourage
Not
people.
surprised.
I encourage people
Not
to look at
surprised.
it objectively because if it were not coming from a Barcelona player, I think a Barcelona fan, I think people might appreciate it a bit more. But I'll give it to Kubasi. Paul Kubasi has been the epitome of new generation, old school centre back. There is nothing the guy cannot do. He's quick. He's
Defend.
what? He can. He's
You said
quick.
there's nothing you can do,
I mean, as a
and
defender,
I said
as
defend.
a defender, he can defend. As a defender, he can. He's quick,
Oh.
deceptively
Okay,
quick.
yeah. So
He
no,
has good interpretation
you know,
of the game. His tackles are good. He's played high pressure games and still perform. Um, It has longevity in comparison to other people that I might put on my list. For example, I fancy Desire Doué. I give him a shout every day. Um, but he just started doing that like a couple of months ago, right? But Kubasi all the way from Euros,
all the
all
way
the way
from
from
last
last
season, in
season.
fact.
So he's just
Yeah, like
yeah, yeah.
playing high pressure games. against Mbappe, and I think
Osimhen and the
yeah,
rest of
that's something
them. So
special.
for me, I feel like
Mm.
also we need to move beyond the narrative that all the glitters is not gold. I do enjoy the attacking prospects for a lot of players, but we also need to give flowers to some of these guys who have actually mastered the craft of defending, and that, as you can see,
And I just
mm, that as you can see, can cost.
and I just like
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So for me,
and
it's
just
just
players that I
Kubasi.
think
I can go on
yeah, and I think
waxing
Kubasi
lyrical,
like
but I think it's just Kubasi. He deserves that best
mm,
young player award.
yeah. I think his levels are almost just about. I think in my opinion, it's probably I put him in in the top five category of central defenders playing football right now. He's that. I think I like him. I like him a lot. Again, I always find I'm very skeptical about my about your Barcelona players because it always seems it always seems there's always gold from coming out from La Masia.
Well, we
So I'm
understood
always
this.
observing closely. I'm always observing closely. But I think every time I've seen Kubasi play, I think he's amazing, he's an amazing player. I think he's only gonna grow into a great centre back long term. But I think my choice for this younger one, I'm gonna go with Joao Neves from Paris Saint-Germain.
That's a
And
good shout too.
I think his performances in Paris's run to the Champions League final, not just even the knockout, even way back when they were still in the group format, the turn of the when they played against Man
Hmm.
City, I think it was amazing that day. And when you see how Man City have missed Rodri and how some other teams they lack that dominant
Hmm.
ball
Controlling midfielder.
that dominant, that control midfielder exactly. I think he's one that really shines out. His attitude on and off the ball is really, really fantastic. And I really like he has a for a guy so that looks a bit small, he packs a lot of energy, a lot of running power into his game. So I really like him. And best coach.
This is dicey because there's a lot of probabilities to it. Um, and the
I think there are
reason,
two.
yeah, I've got to be
I
honest, I've
think,
got three solid candidates. If any of them win it,
Chris,
I
okay,
would not
okay.
contest why. I've got three very solid candidates. One of which is Inzaghi. Uh, the other is Luis Enrique. And the final one is Hansi Flick in no particular order. And all of these coaches, I can make a case for them. Um, First of all, if Inzaghi is able to pull off victory in the Champions League, right, and still
Obviously,
manage
yeah.
to turn things around in Serie A and win Serie A, that for me gives him an unbelievable edge.
Yeah.
Um, and especially because if you look at it based on the quality of the players that he's managed to do this with, he doesn't have a Yamal, doesn't have, I mean, Inter has a solid squad, no doubt, but like you will see that the coaching took them that far.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
on the other
exactly.
yeah, on the other side for Luis Enrique, I can make a case he arguably lost one of the better players in Mbappe last season, and he then built a better team
I
out
got
of
better.
that. So
Yeah.
he's had
Make
some.
make of make of that what you will, but that's an interesting
Yeah, but
point.
that's a fact as well. And then
Yeah.
and then
Yeah, it's facts, all
and
facts, all facts.
yeah, and then it has players like Usman that he's made into a revelation. Although I always tell people if you watch Usman for the last season and a half in Barcelona, you wouldn't be surprised that he's hitting this level. Right.
No,
Yeah, no, Xavi,
no,
Xavi,
no.
if Usman is going to be in an interview and be very transparent. Usman is not going to get a better coach than what Xavi did for him. Even when the board ordered him to be frozen on the bench and everything, Xavi played against that will allegedly. So I don't want to say
Boss, okay,
I don't want to say that for
okay,
fact,
but also feel
but then even at the end product was still missing. Like he wasn't getting a lot of goals, but he was already better with his decision making, better with his take on, better with all of that under Xavi,
yeah,
and he went to PSG with the help of Luis Enrique. He's just gone one level more, which is including more clinical finishes, better decision making, better um, touch of the ball, etc. So, uh, for sure, Luis Enrique deserves that. Bringing the best out of Vitia, who was literally struggling to get a starting space in Wolves. Um,
yeah,
yeah,
okay, yeah,
um,
yeah. That's true. So,
managing
but
Donnarumma, who was at best had a very fluctuating season. and making the best out of
Yeah.
it. And, I just feel like Luis Enrique has the case. I'm not going to give him a lot of flowers for winning the league on because it's the expectation sort of going into that, regardless of Mbappe and Kolomani or whoever not being there, is the expectation. I would literally say his season crashed if he didn't do that. But winning that and then being in a position to be able to win the unprecedented Champions League trophy that has cost PSG an arm and a leg over a decade of heavy investment. If he's able to do
Yeah.
that with literally more financial limitation or more or less financial funding, for a lack of better word, that in itself would be a good argument for Luis Enrique to do
Okay.
that. And why I have Hansi Flick for Barcelona is Hansi Flick is Hansi Flick. Of all the three coaches, he's been the one that has
So,
had the
so
least time to
are,
turn
are you going
around.
with are you going with Flick or Enrique?
So, like I said,
Because no,
it
no, no,
has
no,
a
no,
lot
no,
of
no, because wait, no, no,
mm,
no, 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 because you spoke. I think I agreed with everything you said about Enrique. But after you said I had but,
yeah.
so you're not going with Enrique,
So no, what I'm saying,
despite des-
what
despite your glowing remarks about his
no,
achievements, you're not going with Enrique.
no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying at the start of this question,
So
at the start of this
who you going
conversation.
with? Who you
So
going with?
that's what I said to you. It's still up in the
Best
air for me right now
best
because
coach.
it's still up in the air for me right now because of the variables. If Luis Enrique go on
Okay, I'm
and
sorry.
puts,
Wait.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm going to nail you down to an answer right now. Pause.
Okay,
Who's the coach of the coach? Who's the European coach of the year right now?
right now at the moment, right now
Yeah.
it has to be Hansi Flick.
Sorry. Who has the best coaching achievement so far this season, in your opinion?
So far, right now, Hansi
Hans.
Flick.
Yeah.
But that will
Okay.
change come
Okay.
the end of the month. That's what I'm saying. If at the end of the month, Luis Enrique is
So
then
if
able to win the Champions League, okay, you see where I'm coming from. If
that
Enrique
changes.
wins the Champions League, it changes my position. If Inzaghi at the end of the day clocks in on both the Champions League and the Serie A, it changes my opinion. If But if that
Okay.
don't happen, so if
Okay.
for example if Inzaghi wins the Champions League and not Serie A, Hansi Flick still stays the winner, right? If
Okay.
Luis Enrique do not win the Champions League, Hansi Flick still stays the winner. So you see where I'm coming from. So, but regardless,
Yeah, I get you.
it's
Get you.
it's one of those that wherever you sit down, I like I can't argue against it.
Okay, you know what, that's fair. And speaking of yeah, no, oh sorry, I just got a question from one of our listeners. Speaking about Champions League, they want to get your opinion about Barcelona's exits in the Champions League semi-final.
Oh
This, I'm
wow.
sorry, this just came right now on my screen.
No, yeah. So it's
This
unfortunate
wasn't
I've not
planned.
been able to sit
This
down the
so
conversation since then. Um, you know what? It's disappointing that we aren't playing the final as a Barcelona supporter. But one thing is absolutely guaranteed, right? We gave the best footballing entertainment that we've seen from club football in a very long time. The closest match I would think about in terms of pure football entertainment or introduction to football, if for somebody who hasn't really been watching, would be the World Cup final between Argentina, Brazil, and France. And what you've
yeah,
got, the both legs and masterclass. This is what football should
but
be.
don't you? Okay,
But
okay. Oh,
in addition to that, I feel like I believe this is going to happen. Hansi Flick and his crop of players are going to sit down, watch those tapes again, look at things that could happen differently, game management as should be, um, ability to tighten things a bit better at the back, um, even down to the top to the board level. The club needs to also look at it. There are certain positions you cannot be extremely light on. We don't have enough cover,
yeah.
left back, right back, no left winger coverage, all those kind of things, and you look at it and you have the right motivation to go at it again. In terms of the
Okay.
philosophy, the I don't think the goals
Can I
that
just touch just can I just touch something on something before we go forward?
yeah,
But you said like the tie, the both legs home and away.
mhm.
They proved to be one of the best games you you watch or you see
Mm-hmm.
anywhere
Mm-hmm.
in a long time. But don't you also see that think that's the problem, and that's probably the reason why you're not in this Champions League final right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because as we know, like the games are not like traditionally. I know there are some exceptions in the past, but traditionally these games are not games that should be exciting. These are games that should be hard fought. You expect good football, but not they shouldn't be high scoring games. And I think the aggregate across two legs was what was it was
7-6.
7-6. That's that itself is that is outrageous.
But
And when you then look at no, but when you then look at the statistics from Inter Milan perspective, where I think across two legs they had about I think 7 or 9 shots on target, they scored 7 goals, something ridiculous like that. And it just I think in terms of the football this team played, Barcelona they played across the season, they deserve to be in the Champions League final. But I feel ultimately what just cost them is the 6 minutes that they had to defend, or the 6 minutes in this particular time where they had to defend the lead and they just couldn't defend it. And I feel if that is not, if that little, because again, at this level, it's the little detail that gets you in trouble. If that little detail cannot be ironed out, I'm not saying by philosophy, I don't expect you to change his philosophy, but also, is it a case of there's a learning curve with this Barcelona team? Because this is still with the exception of a few players in that 11, Chesney, Lewandowski, some of this, probably the young, some of these players, they've not been at this level
no,
in a long time.
you're
Probably,
absolutely
I don't,
correct. You're absolutely correct. But to me, it's a case
and
of looking at the glass, is it half full or half empty? Because
I'm,
because
if it's Barcelona, I'm always looking at it as half empty. So just to let you
no,
know.
because if you think about it, Barcelona played against the best defense in Europe as a whole. Prior to that game, Inter had considered what 4 or 5 goals in the whole competition prior to
Yeah, I think about 4 or 5, yeah, about
yeah,
those numbers,
in
yeah.
the entire competition, right? And then over 2 legs, you play and you concede 6, right? This is a team that is built off
Yeah.
defensive solidity, right? And for me, it's not even the amount of goals they conceded, it's the chances upon chances the Barca kept creating. At some point in the second leg, first half, no, second leg, second half, it was Barca having them on a toast for a good amount of minutes.
Yeah, that's
So
no,
so
I
when you
agree.
when
I
you
think
yeah, so when you look at it, like I do understand with people, I understand the point with people who feel like yeah, they should be a lot more cautious defensively, which in is a fact from Barcelona's point of view. It's a fact because again, we had a couple of opportunities where we could have just sealed down that game.
no,
You've got
you know
an
what?
advantage.
Again, because like that's the point, and I think that's probably the most important point a lot of people have gotten from this whole situation, that Barca are probably the highlight and all that nonsense. But I feel that that second half performance that Barca put in at the San Siro is probably up there one of some of the best football you see from any team, or how dominant any team has ever been at that stage in European football. Because Inter Milan were out of that game in that the entirety of that second leg. Sorry, the entirety of that second half in the second leg. And when I also feel like it's almost sometimes when if you philosophy when you have this philosophy when you play the way Barca play, is that you live and die by the sword. Either you go for the kill or you get killed. And I feel I think Barca will probably look at the biggest failing in that second half was Barca did not get the fourth goal in that second half. And when you don't get that fourth goal, then you're left open to a Barca. You can then consider at the back. And I was also was thinking like when in terms of what Barca can do going forward. I think over the two legs, one of the best players on the pitch, alongside Yamin Lamar, Pedri, and all that, is probably Inter Milan's goalkeeper, Jan Sommer.
Yeah.
And, and I think if you really want to break it down, I think the difference in these two ties was the fact that one team had an elite goalkeeper and the other team didn't. Do you think so? Do
No,
you think like I think like
well,
basically like I think
to be very honest, when I
with
think of, I'm at the point where I rather have Szczesny over Ter Stegen, and these are very
no
unconventional way to think about it. I rather
no
have a Szczesny.
no I don't think it is. No, because I think for Barcelona fans, because I fully listen to a lot of them. A lot of people genuinely dislike Ter Stegen, and I think a lot of Barca fans they saw his injury as a blessing in disguise, and then they saying that the fact that because when you have a guy that's the club captain. I think he's the club captain,
Yeah,
right?
that's correct.
Just again, yeah. So when you have a guy as a club captain, it's been there a long time. It's always hard to dislodge that kind of figure
Hmm.
in that club. But when the injury came about, it came at the right time in the season for Barca, where the academy kid came in. I think it was
Like
tennis
Penna,
or
like
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it came. I think he did a decent job,
Hmm.
especially in the classical. Sorry, against Real Madrid. But I don't think even though Chesney might be the better goalkeeper than testing right now, I still feel if you look across the two ties, you see the Arsenal PSG game, the heroics of David Raya in the
Donnarumma.
first leg, the penalty save in the second leg, then Donnarumma across two legs. You probably can look at it that Donnarumma is probably the reason why, despite being fantastic across two legs or played good football in spells in second leg, PSG, you can say Donnarumma is probably the reason why they are in the final because he pulled out three, four world class saves across two legs. And when I look at Chesney, he didn't have that moment because again, this is moments where someone had I think four or five of them. The last save he made on Yamal in extra time, that is an outrageous save to make. And in this situation where you look at okay, I think attack like Barca can score 150 goals, it's 150 goals, they have the attacking, they have the quality, is all there. But like that difference maker in goal, do you think that's because I still feel that is it's because it's not the goals you concede across the season, but it's the moments in those big ties where even the penalty, the penalty Inter Milan got, the set pieces they scored from those little moments
Yeah,
could
yeah, no, absolutely.
that they
Like
really cost Barcelona.
no, absolutely. I agree with everything you said. And when I was putting down my jotter for when we have the full revision of Barcelona's season, I think one of the bigger conversations would be Barcelona needs to have early game concentration because I've seen it happen over and over. It happened against Atletico Madrid. It happened against Inter Milan over both legs. It happened against Real Madrid. It
Real Madrid,
happened against Villarreal. It happened against. I can just keep going on. Like more often than not, Barca concede the first goal,
Brush,
and even though
Borussia
they are
Dortmund, and all that.
Borussia
Yeah,
Dortmund, so Barca concede the first, it's possible to turn around, but you don't want to be a Leverkusen of last season. You don't want to keep chasing games and drawing the most out of your players at every single game. And we as fans, we don't want that roller coaster of emotions, right? Um, so I
yeah,
feel like those are some of the bigger reasons why Barca may have, because for example, over two legs, we were down 2-0 at some point, right? Um, that shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen. And also, it happened twice against Atletico Madrid. We were down 2 goals. Typically, clubs like this,
mm,
in any other season, you don't recover from those games. You're done.
yeah, exactly. And
You're
it's
done. So
because
so
it's
so
funny
So, and
because
also, just look at Real
yeah,
Madrid,
yeah, go go.
The last Clasico, we are down 2 goals in 15 minutes to less than 20 minutes. You don't do that, and you don't,
Yeah,
you don't always will have the remontada. You don't always will have those. As fans, yes, we do get the grill and we feel like we're pumped and we're good, but
it's an
you don't want to keep testing your punching your weight. So those are things that Hansi Flick should go and work on, alongside the crop of players. And it's good that there's a margin for improvement there. It's also good that there's a great strength of mentality going on in terms of we can recover from whatever position we find ourselves in, but we don't necessarily need to always be in that position before we start playing our best football,
yeah.
right? So,
Okay, okay, that's okay. I think I think we will undercover we'll flesh out this conversation when we have our
yeah.
post-season
And you can reply in the comment section
reviews
and
and
let the
whatnot.
fan know that we're gonna have that session where we can uncover more on Barca's this thing and
Oh
we
no
can
no no
review that.
no 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 there was no fan, it was me. That was just my question. That was
Okay.
my question for
Oh,
you.
so you're
So
my fan. Okay,
okay.
it's good.
Uh,
Good to respond.
okay.
Okay.
I'm your fan when you lose. So yeah, thanks for that. Because just to touch on that particular, because I think this is the first time we've talked about it on this platform.
Yeah.
I think that's that whole week.
Hmm.
That's the Barca game on Tuesday, then the Arsenal on Wednesday. I think that's probably been the best few days I've had this week. Sorry, this year.
For
Like
your hate watch
the energy
agenda.
that
Pardon
like
my
that
language.
was I
Well,
think that's
hmm.
no that was top level hit watching. Like it was so satisfying because it's also because sometimes sometimes you go into a hit watch where the team you're watching they just don't turn up. It's almost even.
Mm-hmm.
But in both games, both teams had hope at different points in that tie, and it just kept. It seemed close, but not close enough, and I really
Yeah, I
loved
never
it.
felt that way for Arsenal
I would.
PSG. I never felt like it was close.
No, well,
No, I
no,
never
no,
felt.
I'm
No,
not
it
an
was a
Arsenal fan.
comfort. It
No,
was a
no, they've been.
comfortable victory for because when they went 2-1 down, this thing when they went two
Well,
one down, this thing needed two goals. They didn't look like they were gonna get two goals.
yeah, no,
No, no,
yeah,
I didn't feel
I
that way.
think,
If Saka's
okay,
goal went through that miss, yeah,
then,
then we could have been on
about
for something interesting. But I felt like
no, no, but
the
also,
game was
but the
out
start,
after
but
PSG's first goal.
no, yeah, but I think the start has been hard to that game. They could have been two up in minutes.
Yeah.
But again, it's the hope that really kills you. So that's good stuff. Interesting. So I think we have the last two no, this I think this particular ones are not really awards per se. They're more um how do I say this? They're more observations. Underachievers. Who do you think? What team do you think is the biggest? Um, what team is the biggest under? What team, coach, or player is the biggest underachiever this
Um,
season?
okay, so I'll go from team first.
So, so again, you can have it. You can just go with one player or team, or you could go with coach, player, and team, however you like it to be.
Okay, so for a coach, my biggest underachiever this season is Pep Guardiola. He's a man that I have huge respect for his technical abilities and everything, but I don't remember any season where he had gone trophyless and go out in almost all competitions the manner at which he had gone out. It's literally fighting for a Champions League position in a competition that he has won six times or thereabout.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I just felt like he lost the dressing room at some point, and towards the later part of the
It looks.
seasons, it feels like oh they were coming back, and then in the latter part of it, it looks again like they've collapsed again. So that
Yeah.
inconsistency for a coach of that caliber with the tools that he has, let's not undermine the players that we have there.
This.
So if I'm
Yeah.
saying Phil Foden was a flop of the season after winning PFA Player of the Year, I'm also giving that same remark to Pep Guardiola for what he did last season, what he's ending up with. I think last season was when they went the treble. No, no, it was the
No,
season before.
that was the season before last.
Yeah, who's
Yeah,
okay? Yeah, so exactly
and
that season before last, and then last season they equally had a good season. They only missed out on the Champions League, right? So
well,
and now they are just in total shambles. So
yeah, but with Pep, do you think this is a solution where because I think I think if you look at how this season has played out for Pep, where he goes into the season, his contract due to expire at the end of the year. There was a few moments of him leaving at the end of the season and whatnot, but he then signs his contract
mhm,
extension. Then he has some personal life issues off
mhm,
the pitch, and knowing how those obviously affect you as a human being, and they
mhm.
affect your performance as at the high level coach he is. But I think just looking at him, I don't think he doesn't look. He looks exhausted, and I don't know. And it's almost as if his team, they play the football they play is not. It's not refreshing. It's very still, not boring, but it's not exciting enough for what we've come to expect from Pep. And it's just proved because like it's Pep, it's a washed because at some point, every manager has been great at one point. They all get washed. But the difference is sometimes some managers know when the wash is coming and they leave before it just comes. Like Fergie, for example, he sees the landscape in English football is changing. Man City have the money. Pep Guardiola comes over to England, or he senses he's coming to England, then he just okay. I'll have my last Premier League win and I'll just bounce. I'm done. I've achieved what I can achieve. You leave. But you see guys like Mourinho who they stay long enough in the game and just end up being, for lack of a better word, just washed. We've seen it in the past, like guys like Capello, those guys who've tasted success at different points in their career, but towards the end. the older they get, they get to a point where they're no longer who they are anymore, and they lose. It's not as if football has left them behind, but they just lose that element because I believe for coaching or managing is a young man's game, and the older this guy gets, is can they really compete at this top level? Can they? And also when when you've won as much as he's won, like can you still go again? Which is a big question. Like because I think a lot of Man City fans, a lot of Man City executives, they'll sit down with him. Even Pep himself, look at his team. KDB is going. Can I go again with this team? Can I sign the right players? Can I coach these players again? Can I push them to because it's really because to be at the top of not just English football, even or European football, you really need to push every single facet of the game to the next level. And sometimes it's never enough. Like we've seen Barcelona, we've seen how exhausting like I can't imagine how exhausting it is for Barcelona players to perform in games where they're going a goal, two goals down in the biggest games of the season, but still having that mental resolve to come back in those games, challenge, turn up week in, week out is very challenging. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this offseason goes. I won't be surprised if because I think Man City and Chelsea they have the Club World Cup
Yeah.
just after the season ends. I won't be surprised if he's not there for that. I'm not saying he leaves. I just think he might just take a holiday and just leave that for his assistant. Just go because I think he needs to go back, spend a bit of more time with his family. I think he obviously needs that, and just figure out where his motivation is. And I think his motivation could just be the fact that he sees what Liverpool are doing and says, "Okay, that is the challenge I need. to See what Arsenal are trying to do. That is okay. I need to come back and establish myself as." Because Man City finishing in third position, that is as bad as it gets for Pep Guardiola historically.
Yeah.
I think I think this is probably his second worst season as a head coach anyway. And
Which one will be the
that's
first one?
his first year at Man City.
First year, man. What was his position?
I think they finished fourth. Finished fourth, no trophy. Yeah,
In his first year?
yeah. That was that was first year. That was 2016-17. Conte won the Premier League and I think Champions League. I'm not sure who won Champions League that year.
Okay.
That was first year. So it's an interesting watch.
Yeah,
But
no,
that's a good shout.
well, for me, yeah, absolutely, he's my worst manager this year, the flop of the year. But I feel
Underachieving
manager of the
manager
year.
of the year.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's put it that way,
Let's
underachieving manager of the year.
let's be careful.
Then for
Let's
the
not go crazy calling
no,
Pep a flop.
Pep is not a flop. I mean, but yeah, but I'll watch out
I'll,
for him next
I'll,
season. I'll watch out for him next
I'll
season.
love it.
Despite everything you've said, watch out for him next season. He's shown consistent ability to bounce back from adversity. This is not going to be any
But
different.
wait, but has he though?
Yes, he
Because
has.
that's the question.
Because
Like you say,
you
bounce
rightly
back.
just
This,
pointed out that he was fourth in his first season in the Premier League,
yeah,
and then he went on and
it's
at the time you're looking at it in
eh,
space of 7 years is 1-6. So
I think
uh,
so I say if you say Pep has been coaching for about I think Barca was 4 years.
no, three, I guess.
Barca, Barca was three, Bayern was three,
Mm-hmm.
six. Then Man City is about
Six or
I think
seven,
s- I think probably seven. So he's been coaching at this top level for about
13,
12 years,
13,
give or so 12, 13 years, give or take. And I think he's won a title
maybe eight, nine.
in,
Yeah.
I think one, two, three, four. I think he's not won a title four times. The first year at Man City this year, there was one season at Barcelona, and I think that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I know. Okay, fair enough. Like, I think he's obviously bounced back from challenge, but then again, also like Man City can also then go out in the window, spend
Mm-hmm.
God knows how much, and
Was
boom, they're back
was
again.
that a season Barca didn't win the title with Pep?
Yeah, Mourinho.
Did Mourinho
There
win
was
it ahead of Pep, or Mourinho won it
yeah,
at
Mourinho. Yeah,
Tito
yeah.
Villanova?
No, it was Pep.
It was Pep?
I think it was Pep.
You
Yeah,
sure?
that was the height of their warfare.
Oh,
And
okay. Okay. Maybe I need to fact check
because
that.
because no, because again, correct me if I'm wrong. I think Mourinho in Real Madrid before Pep does leave Barca, right? Or
Oh,
they left
so
the same time?
no, so because Pep won it, Mourinho came. I think Pep won it on Mourinho. Uh, just check between
You know what?
2009 and 2009 and 2012 when Pep left. La Liga title.
So Pep was so Pep was Barca head coach from 2008 to 2011,
Mm-hmm.
and Jose Mourinho,
Because I think it was the Mourinho one for the first time, 2012, the one with Cristiano and Co.
and he wins in 2011-12 at Real Madrid.
Jose wins 11,
Okay,
12. So I think
yeah,
Pep was out, no?
yeah. Pep was out.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh,
I think Pep
that's
was out.
interesting.
Yeah, anyway. So, uh,
That's okay. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, yeah, I was told the other way around.
no, no,
Hmm.
I don't think that was the case. So, yeah, I mean, he could bounce back and he could get that going for him. But in terms of the club biggest underachiever, this is a bit. I even know it's controversial to say this, but I say it.
No, no. Okay. No. Okay, no. Sorry, I got it wrong. Pep manages in Barca from 2008 to 2012,
Mhm.
and Mourinho wins his La Liga title in 11-12. So Mourinho was in fact there.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So according to this, they both. Okay, so Mourinho stays 1 year, 1 year more in Madrid than Pep did.
Yeah, but did he win the title
Okay,
when Pep was there?
yeah, I did.
He won that one when Pep
So,
was there. Okay,
yeah,
okay. Mm.
okay. And so that's your biggest underachiever, coach. What about player?
Uh,
I know you have some.
for player
You have some
overall,
hits.
um, for players overall, to be honest, I can't really think of a player that I had more hopes on and didn't live up to expectation. As much as I want to banter the Madrid boys, um, how about my biggest? Oh no, what am I saying? My biggest underachiever for a player is Vinicius this season.
Okay, okay.
Vinicius Junior.
I thought that was. I thought that was where you're gonna go as well, because
Yeah, it's Vinicius Junior. I mean,
I
from
agree with you.
saying 10 times more to
As
doing 20 times less. Um,
yeah,
and it's interesting because I saw his Netflix video just come and I was like, what a wrong timing. This is not the season to let any
no.
commercial out. But
No, no, but you know what? I got different messaging from that Netflix. Again, I could just be reading too much into it. But I think particularly that's this Netflix documentary just for me. It's significant. It's just again I could be wrong, but I say it just cements what I believed if that I believe he's going to lose Real Madrid this season because for a few reasons. I think one the lifespan of the top Brazilian players at the top
mhm.
of European football is not that long. And for a player that's already achieved what is because again, he's a very successful player. He's one of the, if not probably he's probably one of the most successful Brazilians in European football. I think I think three Champions League or four, about four. He's won a lot. He's already achieved it. And I just he might just him, but between him and Real Madrid, might just decide to just cash in on what they already have. He's in a good journey. Shake hands. They go their ways. Real Madrid do the restructuring. They need to restructure. But I think that
Hold on a
documentary
second.
just yeah. Is that money ringing?
Sorry. Mhm. I don't know what's so I'm back. Sorry about
Are you back?
that.
Was that the morning call?
Yep. No, it's a knock at the door.
Okay, it's okay. Okay. Okay, so, but yeah, but I think because with documentaries, you always know, like, especially for the great player, I know a lot of players are doing it more these days where they're having documentaries about their careers just at in the middle of their careers or they're supposed middle of the career. But I think with him, I think that's just like, okay, I came to Europe, I came to Real Madrid, I achieved what I wanted to achieve. I've already won. Record that documentary at the height of his
Mm-hmm.
success at Real Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
And also you get that bit where he has that tipping point where he doesn't win the Ballon d'Or.
Mm-hmm.
And since that it's just been
Just been
not
on the
down for
decline.
me.
Yeah.
It's not I won't say decline. It's just been because even you seem like because again I've loved watching him play because it's so expressive. It's entertaining. It's just but with him it's just like okay, it's not. It doesn't have that same spark that I've come to enjoy watching him play with. But well, again we'll see how it develops because I feel Real Madrid will like they've already started that restructuring. You've seen they've been active in the transfer window already. And with him, they'll I won't be surprised if by the end of the summer he's no longer a Real Madrid player and Real Madrid just decide to go somewhere else. But I'm sure you enjoy
No,
that
to,
situation.
no, to be fair, if Vinicius stays or leaves Real Madrid, doesn't make so much difference to me as a Barcelona fan, if I'm being sincere. Um, it's just, beyond being a Madrid star, um, for him, right? I feel like it it's gonna be quite it's gonna have that little bit of awful taste of football if he
Mm.
leaves
Say
too
okay,
early from the European
say
scene
cashes out and
and maybe
say
goes to
cashes out and
Saudi or
go
somewhere.
goes to Saudi. Yeah,
It's just gonna have that little bit of okay, what's going on? But if you were maybe moving from Real Madrid and going to a Man City or going to a Bayern Munich or going to something I'm just saying, for example, right?
that could be again just like that could be like just speaking on our previous point, Pep. Like imagine Vinicius in the Premier League under Pep. Like
You get,
that is
so that's
that
something. If you
is
have a Vinicius or Haaland, Mamouche sitting somewhere behind and everything. But the funny thing is
putting
this,
on
I've,
putting on the bench.
and then the funny thing is this, right? If Madrid were to ship out Vini, I see them going for an out and out striker because they're gonna probably want to have Mbappe go down that flank.
Or, or, or again, I feel because it depends on what Alonso wants to do. Because I think we all know it's no longer a secret. Like he's going to be the next
Hmm.
Real Madrid head coach. Or they just, or they just go all in for the player they miss the most. They go out there and get one of the best midfielders available in Europe. Where, because I think that's the biggest miss that team is. They need a controller. They need a proper number. I think they need a number six and a number eight, but you can get those two in one player. You can get like a Vitinha, for example. If everybody can go out there for the push the envelope and get a Vitinha, I think that's signing alone,
If they go
along
and
with the
get a
other guys they've
Vitinha,
made.
which is good, then they'll be very short on the flank. Because the funny thing is this, I feel the right
No,
wing
no, well,
position of Real Madrid right now is not potent.
no, but if
Whoever
you
that's been
keep,
playing there is just doing something. It's not doing enough. The
but if you
Güler,
keep,
the Rodrigo, those guys are not. Those guys are not
but
potent.
what if they, but what if they get better? Because like again, like Gula is still a young player, and we know if he can, because again, I understand the because obviously if Vinicius, you lose that,
You lose that outlet. You
you
need
lose,
that outlet of
but
pace.
also
You
you
need
lose
that
that,
fear factor. You lose that thing that allows your
you
opponent
lose
to
that guy, you lose
configure
that,
in a different way. You lose
yeah,
that. So
you lose that,
in as much as I feel like there is a
or or
big need to get a
or.
controller.
Or hear me out, and Arsenal fans will hate this. Say they move out Vinicius and they want to go back to say for whatever reason they can't get a number nine right now. But say move out Vinicius, they move out Rodrigo, Mbappe gets his wish, Mbappe goes back to that left wing and they go and get an out and out right forward. They go say look at who's like the best on the market right now. I think Saka is one of those guys that
Yeah,
is on the market.
but
Can you
maybe not on the
because
market.
again
You can get him if you're a Madrid or a Barcelona, but it's not on the market. Arsenal
well
fans will have your head on the
he's
stake. He's not on the
well
market.
well Well, again, he is until he's not. Like if somebody put the bid or they make their desires known. If Arsenal rebuff all their desires, it's fair. But I don't think that there are very few players in the history of the Galactical era that have turned down Madrid. I think it's the guys like Gerrard, Stottis, Maldini, those guys. But I think Madrid they more often than not they always get that guy
Yeah,
or that guys. So it could be a matter of them just waiting it out. But again, we've seen it with Trent, we've seen it with Mbappe. They are willing to always wait a year or two to get the guys they want. So, but I think with this, we'll talk more about this in our
in
post-season
a
discussion.
postseason. Yeah. Um,
Yeah. So, so just so I think time is catching up on us. Just the last one, and that's the overachievers.
mm. Overachievers for me would be Barcelona. And the reason why I say that, again, you feel as there's a bias, but like I've said it on both sides, when it's wrong, when it's right. For me, why I call them the overachievers is like nobody started
Wait,
this season.
wait. I'll just ask one question. Going to this season, you were confident of Barcelona winning a treble.
I was, yes.
Okay, we both had a side bet on this. Yes.
Yes, I did.
So, so with that confidence that you had, how then could Barcelona be underachievers?
Because it was based out of my opinion. Okay.
So just
So
based on bias,
no, no,
just
not based on
declaring.
bias, but based off the fact that I watched
Was
the preseason, I followed the coverage, and I also saw what Hansi Flick was trying to do. Okay, and
so do you
based off
think?
that, I felt
Wait,
like at the preseason I saw enough to come back and say to you guys, watch out. This is not going to be the
so do you
way
think?
it's going to be. But bookies had it. Go and check at the start
This,
of the conversation for the
yeah,
start of the
that's true.
season. Bookies
I
had it.
know
Madrid were favorite for
they had Madrid,
almost
yeah,
everything.
everything.
Nobody considered Barca getting this far in the Champions League semi-final. In fact, even through the group stage, people kept saying this team is young and they will still collapse. Even sometime around December when Barca started to fluff their lines, late November heading into December of the same season, people were like, "Yeah, we said it was going to happen, and now it's happening, right?" And even when Atletico Madrid toppled up in the league and Real Madrid and all of those kind of things, people still did not believe Barca would get it done. I firmly believed it.
So do you think? So do you think Barcelona have overachieved this season?
Um, Yes, and the reason why I'm saying that is at the start of the
Yes.
yes, this season they've overachieved. Not that they've not deserved it. They overachieved
Oh,
because
no, yeah,
yeah, they've
yeah.
overachieved because at the start of the season people would not put their money on this. You know, people wouldn't put their money on this. People
Okay,
would not favor them to do that. And at even various stages of the season where they kind of fluffed a little bit, people were like, yeah, this is more of what we expect, right? So
okay.
from that standpoint, now is it regular expectation as the Barca fan to go into the season believing that my team can go in there and win all trophies? Maybe sometimes, maybe in recent times it hasn't really been much of the case, right? But I was pretty confident and I was vocal about it. I was expressive about it. I was saying it to whoever needed to hear that this team is going to do something. And I'm also going to say it again right now, even before the start of next season, that Barcelona is going to be better next season.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, I think okay. We'll keep that for our
We'll keep that for our conversations. And I'll tell you why when we
preseason
unpack it.
conversations.
I'll tell you why when we
Okay.
unpack
Okay.
it. But all
Well,
indications inside the club and outside. And from a personal, practical point of view, I expect Barca to be better. But
okay.
but stay glued for that session and you'll hear more.
Okay. I would have. I think with you going with Barcelona as one of the overachievers of Europe this season, I just have to step in and provide an alternative choice. I'll go. I think Napoli. And I know it's still this is we're recording just before the title decider in a couple of days, but I still think even if they don't quite make it to the title, I still think they've had a season that no one expected them to have because this is a team that have finished. They had after winning the Scudetto 2 years ago, they then come back. They have a poor season all round, Spalletti leaves. They fire two coaches after his departure. Star players are not quite happy. Also, Victor Osimhen, Kvaratskhelia, and all quite they're not quite stable. Then Conte comes in. Conte comes in, brings in Lukaku. There's Osimhen situation where I don't know how much of it was Conte or the club, but Osimhen is out of the picture. They start the season with Kvaratskhelia, then they move him on in January, which looked like the end of the title challenge, but they just kept at it. Momentum guys like Sambo Agisa have been fantastic. Scott McTominay, he's doing wonders in Italy. He's taking free kicks, scoring goals, creating goals. It's been a revolution there. Lukaku is doing what Lukaku does in Italy. That's where he always is. But I think with Conte, I think I think Conte without European commitments during the season is a very, very, very dangerous prospect because even at Chelsea when we saw how successful it was when there was no European football, we could just focus on just one competition week in, week out, train the players on the pitch from Friday till Saturday. They get the business done. I expect them to. I think they have enough on the final day to get the victory that makes them Serie A champions. But it's just because sometimes you look at the team, you go through the list from goalkeeper to the striker, you see they have components where okay, this guy was fantastic. But if you look at sorry, Napoli's team, it's just they don't have.
Yeah,
If you take out, you have Lukaku, Scott McTominay. I know like Anguissa has been good, Politano has been good, but it's just not. It doesn't strike. It doesn't come as close as a title-winning team. And if they do it, that is just great testament to Conte's coaching, his mastermind, how he sees football, and his intense nature of how he trains and how he gets or squeezes every little he can get from not just even world class players, but sometimes his ability to make not quite good players.
look very
He
good.
takes them to another level, he elevates them. I think that's a true tactician there, and a true coach, in my opinion.
No, no,
I know, but
why
also,
I agree with everything you've said. The only reason why they most likely skipped my mind was, you know, it's not done yet. Even when I was
yeah,
checking the game over the weekend, because I couldn't watch that game. I was in with Ebon. Yeah,
August.
so I was just tracking it online, and then I saw that, you know, at some point it looked like Inter had gone up again.
At some point, it looked like Inter had done it. At some point, it looked like Napoli were getting because I think there was this they got late
Mm.
penalty
Yeah, it was.
that was taken on
Yeah,
after VAR review. So, but
yeah, it was
I think in
just
the
a
last
roller
few
coaster.
years,
Yeah, it was a roller coaster.
I
But
think Safe
one
Serie has
one
been
one other shout out I would get for the overachievers, if it does happen, if PSG wins the Champions League, they will be the biggest overachiever of the season. Nobody, including me, favored them to
okay,
win that.
okay,
Just for that alone.
okay.
Not
That's
not
true. That's
for
true.
any other thing that they've done domestically, but if they do that,
That's a shout. That's a shout because I think that will be their first Champions
that's
League
the
title.
only Champions League title.
The only champion, and I think
And
probably
as it
the
is right now,
second.
this is the second appearance in the finals. So already they've equaled their best season
Yeah,
historically. So if
yeah,
they go on and win that, then it's going to be the best season in their history. And with less financial commitment, it would have been the biggest achievement. But until then, for now, I still have it as
yeah.
Barcelona.
And this, I think if I'm right, because I think they'll become the only the second French team to have won the Champions League title
Yep.
after Olympique Marseille in 1993. Okay, I think well that's interesting. But again, on that note, I think we'll call it a day for today, and I think we will return with some more interesting topics because I think our next recording that will be just about the end of the Premier League season, so there could be a bit of depends on how that goes. I don't know how it could be. There could be more.
I'll be
I
celebrating
don't
with
know.
you.
Well,
I'll be showing our fans
I'm running
evidence.
with.
I'll be showing our supporters evidence of your commitment to your word. When I have my parcel shipped in
I'm
here,
running with.
I would I'll be here to
I'm
celebrate.
running with you.
I'll be
I'm
celebrate.
running with you because if and because just our last one because it's very. I think that's this Sunday, the last day of the season. It's going to be an intense one for me because I also have. I think unfortunately I'm not going to watch the Chelsea game live because I'm going to go to. I'll be at the stadium watching FC Copenhagen's last game of the season where we're also we're in a title race. and it's gone down to the wire. Well, I think we have 1 point ahead, well, 1 point ahead of the chasing team, and we need a win on the final day of the season to be crowned Danish champions. So it's gonna be a very tense day. Like
And if you
it's,
were to choose
I'll
one,
just think about.
if you were to choose one, if you have a ferry and it says choose one,
Okay,
you get
let's
crowned
go.
the,
Okay,
the Danish champion, or you
end of
get
end.
you get Chelsea into the Champions League football. Where does your loyalty lie?
I'll just say this. No, 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 no. I'll just say since I think I've been over here for about 4 years now. If we don't win this title, that'll be 3 titles in 4 years. And I'll say since the first year I got here, that's when Chelsea won the Champions League. So since then, we've not been in the Champions League since then. So I think that's where my answer is somewhere in the middle there. But again,
No, no,
thank you for joining
no.
me in this. I can't answer that. I can't answer that. I can't answer that. I'll offend my connects. I can't answer that. I can't put my answer on the record. I can't answer it. But you know where my heart is. I want my heart. So I can't answer that. I can't answer that.
All
It's
right,
no way.
it will end up being a
No.
double glory. I'll be here with you to shout out early next week.
If it all happens, I'll be here. Hennessy, I'll be here on my Henny, so toasting to it. But again, thank you for joining me. It's been a brilliant segment, and to our listeners, thank you for keeping following us on this journey. I think this is our first full season recording on this platform, recording content. So it's been very, I think it's very exciting. I've enjoyed it a lot talking football with you because like this is what we basically do most times when we talk about football. This is sometimes we go longer than this on the phone. So it's been very, it's very. I've loved every moment of it so far. But I think with more segments to come after the season finishes, and we'll plan to take it to the next level going forward. But again, thanks for following us on this ride. Thanks for the followers, the comments, the questions, and all the love. And shout out to you all and to my friend. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again soon.
Thanks, everyone. Don't forget to like, share, comment.
Bye.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Okay. Bye.